Doesn't get any better than that, Reese. And a very pleasant, good late morning, everyone, from Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. Welcome to ESPN College Football. You're watching the Big Ten on ESPN. It's the 90th meeting all time between 10th-ranked Wisconsin and the Hawkeyes of Iowa. And I'm not saying, I'm just saying, the winner of this game has represented the West in the Big Ten title game the last 2 years. Iowa last year, Wisconsin 2 years ago. Brian Griese and Todd McShay are with me. And Griese, the big question coming into this one, how does Wisconsin bounce back from the overtime loss at home last Saturday night to Ohio State?
Yeah, 60-plus minutes of emotional football in Camp Randall, and they come out on the losing end of it, back-to-back weeks, obviously against Michigan and Ohio State. It's tough to come back from that, but Paul Chryst has been confident in this team. He says, you know, sometimes these players get over these losses a lot easier than the coaches do. We'll see how they respond early.
And, of course, Iowa comes off a blowout win over Purdue, 49-35, and it wasn't that close. Although Kirk Ferentz did have to bring his starters back in to make sure the outcome was never in doubt. P.J. Rosowski will kick it away, and it'll go out of the end zone. And we'll see the Iowa offense, but let's show you the Wisconsin defense. They might be the stars of this show.
There's no question they've been the stars of the season for Wisconsin. They were #1 in scoring defense a year ago under Dave Aranda. Everybody had questions coming into 2016. Could they do as much? They've done better. They have controlled games. They shut out teams on offense, and today will be no different. C.J. Beathard, the quarterback for Iowa, will have his hands full.
And there's Vince Biegel. As everyone said, the audio was turned up in practice this week. The star of that Wisconsin defense does return. LaShawn Daniels is the ball carrier, and T.J. Watt makes the first tackle of the game. C.J. Beathard is the starting quarterback. As Kirk Ferentz told us, Beathard is made of the stuff you can't teach.
Yeah, and you know what? He's got poise. He's tough. Last year he played through sports hernia injury, but he's got to know where the weaknesses are. He's got some tackles up front on the outside starting today. They've been banged up. He's got some weaknesses he needs to be aware of.
2nd and 9. Here's Daniels through the hole. Watt makes another stop. We'll see a couple of backs, LaShawn Daniels and Akrum Wadley, in there for Iowa.
There's no question the strength of the Wisconsin team are their linebackers, especially their outside linebackers, T.J. Watt and Vince Biegel. And as I mentioned, this Iowa offensive line, Boone Myers out for this game, so Cole Croston will start at right tackle, and Ike Butker will start at left tackle, both new positions for those guys. Tall assignment.
3rd and 6 for Beathard out of the gun. Wadley is the single setback. Beathard with a good pocket to operate in. Pass is incomplete. Was looking for Riley McCarron and could not complete.
And that's been a problem all season so far for Beathard in this offense. Dropped balls and opportunities for these receivers to go up and make catches on 50-50 balls, and they're failing to do so at an appropriate rate, if you will. So something to monitor throughout this game. Beathard, a lot of people think not having the year that he should be having, but a lot of it has to do with injuries at wide receiver and just a lack of playmakers.
So it's a 3 and out for Iowa to start. Ron Caluzzi will punt it away. Corey Clement will call for the fair catch. And therefore, Alex Hornibrook and Wisconsin will start with pretty good field position. Again, we'll see how Hornibrook and company bounce back. The redshirt freshman making his 4th career start. How about his first 3 starts? At Michigan State, at Michigan, home against Ohio State. Welcome to the show, kid.
Yeah, and he needs to take what the defense gives him today. Put last week behind him. Look towards this game. He's got to get this offense back on track. I thought he made some great throws in that Ohio State game. Obviously, that last throw in overtime where he took the sack on 4th down is going to stick with him. He's got to put that behind him, come out and execute this offense.
On 1st down and 10, out at the 34-yard line. And Hornibrook to throw on 1st down. And able to complete out to Jazz Peavy, and he's very close to a 1st down. Gain of 9, 2nd and 1 coming up.
Yeah, Jazz Peavy, one of the definite impact players for Wisconsin offensively, along with Troy Fumagalli, excellent tight end, made a bunch of plays last week. And this defense for Iowa, they're getting better every week. Josie Jules, the unquestioned leader at the linebacker spot, and we know that the Thorpe Award winner from last year, 2015, Des King, probably be locked up most of the day on Jazz Peavy.
2nd and 1. This would be my favorite play call as an offensive coordinator. Lots you can do on 2nd and 1. And I guess that's one of the calls you could go with.
That looks like something you would call right there.
Come on, a little more exciting. Play action, take a shot downfield. Does the job, though. Gets the first down.
Hornibrook's gotten better each week, Steve. He didn't start the year, obviously. We need to refresh. Bart Houston started the LSU game and won that game for Wisconsin. Hornibrook has come on now in the last couple of, not only a redshirt freshman, but having to go through the schedule that Wisconsin has played, right? The 4 top 10 teams that they've played, and he has consistently gotten better week in and week out.
5 to snap it. They get it away, and it is the sweep to A.J. Taylor down the sideline. This was so effective a week ago. The jet sweep going to Jazz Peavy. This time it's A.J. Taylor, the true freshman.
Yeah, we saw many times Peavy getting this jet sweep. They like both freshmen, A.J. Taylor and Quintez Cephas. They want to, we were talking with Paul Chryst, wants to get some of these younger wide receivers involved. He knows that he needs more depth behind Peavy at the wide receiver position. And Taylor and Cephas are the top 2 candidates.
Gain of 23. Here's Corey Clement now. At a little wildcat for Wisconsin. So some early wrinkles. And Clement's going to carry the football. Left side. Oh, takes a big hit as he was slammed out of bounds. Hit by Brandon Snyder, the free safety. And these safeties do hit for Iowa.
I watched the tape of Brandon Snyder. He's a former quarterback in high school. He is one of these safeties that just comes up and hits you. I mean, you've seen this time and time again. He's forced 4 fumbles from that safety position already this year.
When you see a big hit like that, you always wonder about targeting the crown of the helmet. Hornibrook is back under center on 2nd and 7. Handoff to Clement, straight up the middle. This time it's Miles Taylor, the other safety, coming up to make the stop. This running game for Wisconsin, man, I mean, they did a number against that Buckeyes defense.
Yeah, certainly, and I don't think that Ohio State defensively was ready for it. It's a great game plan from Paul Chryst. Mixed up his formations, motions. They threw the ball on 1st down, ran it on 2nd down. It was really impressive what they were able to accomplish.
3rd and 2. Wisconsin likes Dare Ogunbowale in this spot. He's in there right now. And they get it to Ogunbowale, and he does have the 1st down, just enough.
Look at you doing your homework on Ogunbowale and 3rd down and short.
We've seen Wisconsin a lot this year. We're the voice of the Badgers.
This is the same play they ran in the Ohio State game. He missed Ogunbowale for a big 3rd down conversion. This time, Hornibrook with an accurate throw.
And this will be interesting to watch, too. With Wisconsin struggles last week in the red zone. They're getting close to getting into the red zone. They need to convert with touchdowns, not field goals. I thought that was the big difference last week.
Clement is split out, and now they hand it off to him, coming back around. Here's Corey Clement. He's inside the 20-yard line now.
Paul Chryst is well known as one of the best play callers in college football. I think you're seeing it. You saw it last week. They came out. They had Ohio State on their heels. Every week he comes up with some package, a personnel grouping, a formation, a motion. We've seen Clement in motion, not Peavy on the jet sweep. We've seen Taylor on the, we've seen Wildcat here in the 1st drive. You're going to get something that you haven't prepared for when you play against a Paul Chryst offense.
Because Iowa has to prepare against Peavy on the jet sweep, because he was the one who abused Ohio State in the 1st half. Here we go on 2nd and 7 now. Clement trying to pick his hole. Desmond King came up to make the stop. You mentioned the Thorpe Award winner. That goes to the single most outstanding defensive back in the country. What an honor that was. King, by the way, they wonder when's he going to score a touchdown this season. He had a 41-yard interception return for a score against Purdue a week ago. 3rd and 2, 9th play of this drive. Ogunbowale checks back in.
It's interesting, 3rd and 2 here. You come out in the spread set in the shotgun.
Hornibrook to throw. Not even close. There's a flag down. Jazz Peavy was in the neighborhood. Brandon Snyder had the coverage.
Flags on the opposite side of the field, Dave.
illegal formation offense. More than 4 men in the backfield. Penalties decline. 4th down.
It's a big stop there for Iowa. Defensively, you come out, you take the initial wave of new looks from Paul Chryst. They go right down the field, but you're able to come up with a 3rd down stop here and force a field goal attempt. Now you get on the sideline with Phil Parker, defensive coordinator, and adjust to what you've seen.
This will be from 32 for Andrew Endicott. No Rafael Gaglianone, the star kicker for Wisconsin, had back surgery. He's done for the season. So it falls on Andrew Endicott out of the Connor Allen hold. No good. To the right. Inexperienced plays kicker. That's the first miss from Endicott. We can remain scoreless. Scoreless early on here at Iowa City, and think about Wisconsin. They're 1-2 in the conference and still ranked 10th in the country. That speaks to the Badgers and how top-heavy and how terrific the Big Ten is this year, too.
Certainly is, and this is basically a de facto elimination game in the Big Ten race. Even at 1-2, I think Wisconsin needs this. They play Nebraska next week. Obviously, they would have to win out and need Nebraska to lose another game, but Nebraska plays Ohio State as well, so certainly Wisconsin's not out of the Big Ten race and not out of the national championship race for that matter at 2 losses.
And Iowa feels the same way. If they win out, they feel they'll be in the consideration. Let's get an update. Here's Adnan Virk.
Thank you very much, Leaves. While you know what's happening right now, Lamar Jackson, what a great story he's been this season. 16th rushing score this season, most in the country, 36 yards here. Also the 31st touchdown he's responsible for. That tied with Davis Webb. Louisville, 7-0 lead over on ABC against NC State. Leaves?
All right, Adnan, thank you. Keep us posted there. After the 1-yard gain by Akram Wadley, 2nd and 9. Keep in mind, Iowa went 3 and out. This is their 2nd possession of the game. And Beathard is throwing for Riley McCarron. And he's got it, 1st down yardage. Gain of 10.
You got to give C.J. Beathard time to throw the football, and if you do, he can hurt you. He's an accurate thrower, throws the ball on time, he's smart, poised. McCarron has become his #1 target now that Matt Vanderberg has been out for the season with a foot injury. He needs McCarron to make plays just like that.
Beathard is 18-4 as a starter. 9-2 here at Kinnick Stadium. On the ground to Wadley.
And I said earlier, you know, there's been a lot of things going on with the wide receivers leaving the program before the season. Lost Matt Vandenberg with the foot injuries, out indefinitely. He was the team's leading receiver just a few weeks ago. And he continues to show mental and physical toughness. Really respect that about him. Everything that he's been through this year never shows any frustration.
Yeah, Greg Davis told us that Beathard is as tough as boot leather. That's tough. 2nd and 5. Here's Wadley, loves to spin. Jack Sitchie comes up to make his first stop. Sitchie made 15 tackles. He said 15 tackles a week ago, 11 of them solo.
Yeah, he was the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week, but he's got a tougher job today. And Todd, this Wisconsin defense will be with their nose guard, Olive Songapolu, who was an excellent player at keeping this offensive lineman off of the linebacker Sitchie.
TJ Watt's out of the lineup, checked out there. C.J. Beathard run right up the middle for the 1st down yardage.
That's a good point, because that's the centerpiece of this Wisconsin defense. You have to have a nose tackle that can eat up 2 blockers, and that really creates a lot of opportunities for linebackers to come in and make plays. And I would argue this is the best linebacker core in the entire country. The Florida Gators, maybe you could stack up there.
Yep.
But with Beagle back, and then with Garrett Dooley showing what he showed while Beagle was gone, and this group is deep and loaded talent.
They figure to be tested today as Iowa will look to run the football on 1st down and 10. Off the play fake, Beathard the throw. And incomplete over the head of George Kittle, the tight end.
I think one last point, they are deep and they're strong at linebacker. They are not as deep on the defensive line. So the loss of Songapolu is big. They will play Alec James, who I think is one of the most underrated players on this Wisconsin defense, number 57, an outstanding player. They're going to move Connor Sheehy from tackle to nose, which is a very different position. We'll see how he holds up. And then the last guy that needs to play today is a true freshman, Garrett Rand, at nose guard.
Watt is back in the game on that Wisconsin defense. On 2nd and 10. Throwing to Wadley out of the backfield for the short game. Bring up a 3rd and long. Sitchy on the stop.
Wadley's a player that just jumps out on tape. I think he's probably the most dynamic athlete that Iowa has on the offensive side. Just watching his ability to create in space and also in small spaces, it's not a surprise that they're working him a little bit more as a running back, but also moving him around as a slot receiver. Just find a way to get the ball in Wadley's hands, and he can make some big plays.
7.4 yards per carry for Wadley. That is the best in the conference. Here's 3rd and 7 now. Approaching midfield. Beathard throw to his left. Able to complete. Jay Shield able to break the tackle, and because of that, gets the 1st down. Shield, a sophomore from Mount Auburn, Iowa.
Wisconsin got exactly what they wanted, and it's the corner, Figaro, that's just got to make the tackle. You come up, make that tackle, and force a punt. Great effort by Shield to get a big 1st down.
Those are the plays that you need from your receivers. Instead of the drops and some of the other missed opportunities to break a tackle, although this it looks like a bad spot from where I'm standing.
Wow.
At the 49. Into press for the Hawkeyes.
His right foot looked like it went out of bounds. The ball was in his left hand, but wow.
Officially they give him 6, and officially Iowa is punting. Corey Clement, the fair catch at about the 8-yard line. Take another look at that spot when we come back.
When I used to fail over and over trying to invent things, everyone said I was crazy. Then I invented this Mama Jamma. Just like this morning when I wanted chicken for breakfast, everyone said I was crazy again. Then I got the new Egg White Grill from Chick-fil-A. Let's review. Crazy?
Ron Caluzzi had a 41-yard punt. Should he have been in punt formation there?
I don't know. It didn't look like Shield went out of bounds. It's just a question of where that football was. He had to get to about the 40. We'll take a look at it after this play.
We'll take another look at that. Wisconsin is backed up now. They'll start at their own 9-yard line. Austin Ramish, the fullback. Hey, what's a fullback? Fullback in front of Corey Clement. Send the man in motion and hand it off to Clement. Good second effort there. Finally, Ben Neiman brought him down, but not only Clement had himself a good game.
Let's go back and take a look at that last 3rd down play by Shield. Take a look at his right foot. His right foot not out of bounds there, but the ball has not gotten across the 1st down. That's tough to tell. I'm not going to second guess the official on that one because he had a much better look than we do, but certainly we love Shield to dive forward and get that 1st down.
2nd and 5, pitch to Clement, cuts it back inside, 1st down yardage, and then some. Brandon Snyder came up to make the stop, gain of 8 on the play. Todd.
Clement just looks different than he did a few weeks ago when we saw them. He had that injury, he just wasn't himself, but you see now the explosiveness and the ability to break more tackles. That was what was missing in his game, and we saw it against Ohio State last week. He really looks like the old Clement, the guy who we thought was going to be the next great Wisconsin back.
Well, he's healthy, right, Todd? I mean,
exactly.
that's the thing is he's healthy, and they're going to use him in different situations. Now you see him lined up out as a wide receiver. Expect a jet sweep or fake.
That's Clement in motion. Hornibrook straight drop to throw. Has a man, and it is dropped. Troy Fumagalli had him over the shoulder. Fumagalli couldn't hang on. Here's Adnan.
All right, Leaves, hang on tight. What's going to be happening between Texas and Kansas State? 2nd and goal. This is Jesse Ertz here, carrying into the end zone untouched. 7-0 right now for the Wildcats. Once again, it's over on ESPN2. Steve?
All right, Adnan. You're on ESPN, a drop that the Badgers can't afford to make.
Great throw there.
Right?
Wow. Great design, too. Again, talk about Paul Chryst, but you put your best player, Corey Clement, in motion. You get the defense looking at the jet sweep, and you drop a nice pass into Fumagalli. He just lost sight of it.
Paul Chryst, one of just a handful of Power 5 head coaches, who also calls the offensive plays. Hornibrook throwing again. Eric Steffes, the tight end on the far side, makes the grab.
Wow, he got lucky there, Hornibrook. That's a late throw in the flat. Maben was in good position, but look at the placement of that ball. Maven didn't look like he got a good jump on it. Nice job by Steffes to control that ball and get a foot down in bounds, but Hornibrook got away with one there.
3rd down and 4 coming up.
Fumagalli and Ogunbowale. Say that real fast.
Why would you do that to me?
Those
Right
two
before
guys,
3rd and 4.
those are the keys on 3rd down.
Of course they are. Dowray and Troy. Here's Hornibrook. Pressure in his face. Got it away. It's a good Mawale. 1st down and much more. Josey Jewell eventually wrestles him down, but they're across midfield.
One of my favorite routes. You put your 2 playmakers and you run what we used to call a Texas route, which is basically an out and then back in. Fumagalli's going to clear it out. And Ogunbowale, man, I did just say it right there. Dunbar runs a great route on a linebacker. That's a mismatch. Josey Jewell is not going to be able to guard Ogunbowale in man-to-man coverage on 3rd downs in this game.
Gain of 26 on the play. Clement and Ramish out of the eye. Quick screen out to the wide receiver and too high for Jazz Peavy over his head. Desmond King had the coverage.
Wisconsin has really jumped on teams. You see the 1st quarter comparison. 32 points to 6 in the time of possession, almost 3-1. The problem is that when they've gotten down inside the red zone, putting that ball in the end zone. We talked about it against the Ohio State last week, kicking the field goals. They've already had it happen on their 1st drive. They need to sustain drives and get touchdowns, not field goals.
2nd down and 10. Just across midfield. Here's Hornibrook. Looking to his right and throwing that way to Ogunbowale. Stays in bounds, has the 1st down. Miles Taylor on the stop. Gain of 12.
We talk a lot about Corey Clement and a big offensive line and running the football, but this Wisconsin offense is growing. They are maturing and they are morphing into a balanced offense. They're throwing the football on 1st down. Paul Chryst trusts Hornibrook to execute in the passing game.
Oh, and Hornibrook's doing such a good job under pressure. He has really since his 1st start against Michigan State. That was just another example, taking a big hit, popping right up.
Down to 2 minutes to play here in a scoreless 1st quarter. Hornibrook feels the pressure, gets away from it, lobs it down the middle of the field. Too much for Jazz Peavy. Anthony Nelson at the pressure.
Anthony Nelson, the defensive end, redshirt freshman, comes off the edge, going up against probably the weakest of this offensive line is the right tackle Maxwell. He struggled last week against Ohio State in that fierce pass rush, but again, Hornibrook slippery, gets rid of the football.
Marty just handed me this note. Wisconsin 6 straight passing plays. That can't be right, can it? Badgers?
Marty's never wrong.
6 straight passing plays? Check Elias, see if that's the 1st time in history. Here's Clement on the pitch to the left side. He is rocked down to the 35.
I think it's a sign of the confidence in the quarterback that Paul Chryst has in his young quarterback, and he's on. He threw a great ball to Fumagalli, dropped it. Comes back with a big 3rd down to Ogunbowale, and hits it. And I think he's going to continue to give his quarterback more pass plays as long as he shows he can execute. No doubt there'll be one here.
3rd down and 10. 10th play of the drive. Again, Wisconsin had a long drive the previous time and couldn't make the field goal. They're rushing just 4. Hornibrook steps up there. He was pounded, and there's a flag. Josey Jewell got him. Might have gotten him too good.
Boy, Hornibrook was in a vulnerable position, and it certainly looked like
Personal
a nasty
foul.
hit.
Targeting defense, number 43. That previous play is under further review.
Keep in mind that Josey Jewell was disqualified 6 plays into the opening game, opener of the season, for targeting. And we'll look at this one more than one time.
These officials are taught to, when in doubt, throw the flag. So they're going to throw the flag. There's no question about that. But, you know, when it's a quarterback and they're throwing the ball and they're in that vulnerable position, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. But I'm not so sure that Josey Jewell is targeting right here. Let's take a look. He comes in and looks like his helmet is in the chest, which is a fair, I mean, obviously that's not a late hit. Okay, so let's take that out of the equation. He does not use the crown of his helmet. His face mask is on his chest. That's another tenet of targeting. And he doesn't, in my opinion, that's a clean hit.
I'm with you. I did not see crown of the helmet there at the contact point.
Again, it's important to see that he hits with his face mask and not the crown. He hits him in the chest.
Is Kirk Ferentz, his reaction, looking at the replays. Eyes are up.
Eyes are up, yep.
After further review, it was determined that the contact was to the shoulder area. The targeting call is reversed. Number 43 remains in the ball game. Result of the play was an incomplete pass. Fourth down.
Jeff Servinski, our referee, and we are in agreement with that call.
Great job by Jeff and that crew, Big Ten crew. That's what this was. This is how it was designed to play out. When in doubt, throw the flag on the field, and then rather than taking Josie Jewell out of the game, this year the new ability to replay and overturn that, I think it was done well.
So there might have been some harm, but there is no foul. Bart Houston, the backup quarterback for Wisconsin, was out there on the field taking snaps. We'll check on Hornibrook as well the next time Wisconsin gets the football. But Anthony Lottie is back to punt. He's at the Iowa 49. Desmond King is back deep at the 8. Lottie will get it in the air. End over end. King will let it bounce. And it bounces down at the 2, and it'll be down to about the 6-yard line.
Nice sandwich there.
So we've had a lot of action. Just no points to show for it. Into the final minute of the first quarter. Today. Well, it's been all Wisconsin except where it counts on the scoreboard. Wisconsin 2 long drives, driving to the Iowa 14 and the 35 with nothing to show for it. And so Iowa will take over in the shadows of their own goalpost. Final minute, quarter number 1. C.J. Beathard will hand it off to LaShawn Daniels. Straight ahead, Jack Cichy to stop. Adnan Burke the update.
All right, Steve, it's a Taco Bell studio update. Just want to let you know what's happening right now with Oklahoma State and Kansas. Montel Kozar here to Lakeviante Gonzalez, 68 yards and a defensive pass interference against Oklahoma State as well. Jayhawks up 7-0 early in this one. Leaves?
See how late Adnan and the boys were up last night? That game took forever. Oregon and Cal, double overtime.
Yeah.
Hand off to Daniels again. Cichy again on the stop.
They get to the over in that game? What was it, 89?
Yeah, somebody shows the largest over in college football history, and they did go over thanks to double overtime. Hey, we're down to the final 5 seconds of Iowa and Wisconsin. We haven't even mentioned what this game is all about. It's all about the Heartland Trophy. Does anybody know what that really means? We had a hard time finding some answers on that this week. We're scoreless after 1. This is a series that began way back in 1894. Wisconsin won that game 44-0. But this is the 90th meeting. 90 meetings, and Wisconsin has one more win than Iowa does. And it's all about the Heartland Trophy. It's a bull mounted on a walnut base, native to both Wisconsin and Iowa. It's got the scores, and they've been playing for 100 years. No, it's not 100 years for the Heartland Trophy, actually. It's just the last 10 or so.
Yeah.
5 and 5,
Yep.
even there.
5.
So this is the 11th. Pass is knocked away on 3rd and short. Riley McCarron, a little too low for him.
And I'm glad they reorganized the Big Ten Conference into East and West. When it was legends and leaders, these two teams weren't going to play each other. So there was 2 years, 11 and 12, where they didn't play. And one of the biggest advocates for getting this game back on the schedule was Barry Alvarez. So we need to play this game.
So Barry in the hallway in the press box.
You have the red jacket on?
Yeah, of course he did. Maybe a sweater, red sweater maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Part of the College Football Playoff Committee, of course. Corey Clement is back at the 41, and he'll fair catch it. And that's where Wisconsin will start. All right, we'll step aside again early on.
Only takes one to get party going. You know that, man.
Yeah. Wow, that guy's really tall, too.
Tied up at zeros back in Iowa City. We have a quarterback change for the Wisconsin Badgers. A senior, Bart Houston, is going to come out and take this series. This has been planned for Paul Chryst all week long. This doesn't have anything to do with an injury. Alex Hornibrook is just fine, but Paul Chryst wanted to get his senior in the game and give Alex Hornibrook a chance to look for a series from the sideline.
And Houston will benefit from Wisconsin's best starting position today, their own 42-yard line. Going to come out firing and completing to Jazz Peavy down the sideline. First down. You like throwing an extra package in there for the backup quarterback?
Not a huge fan. Not a huge fan, especially with a redshirt freshman in Alex Hornibrook, who's really played well. I mean, hasn't been perfect, but he is the clear future of the Wisconsin Badgers. And I understand Paul Chryst is a great coach, and I understand, trying to get, your quarterback to the sideline, let him calm down a little bit and watch the game. But I think it does take some rhythm away from Alex Hornibrook.
Clement is split out to the right. Now they send him in motion. Don't even fake it to him. Give to Ogunbowale. Trying to push the pile to the 40-yard line. Back to Adnan.
All right, Leeds, thank you. I'll update you once again on Lamar Jackson, this time to Jalen Smith. 74 yards. In fact, the 5th score of at least 70 yards, the 2nd most in the nation, and the 10th straight game for Lamar Jackson, the passing and rushing score. 17-0 Louisville on ABC. Steve?
Adnan, thank you. We wondered about NC State. How would they come back? What would their hangover be like this week?
Yep.
Similar to Wisconsin's position. Badgers are scoreless here on 2nd down and 4. They shift Ramish to the left and hand it off to Clement going in that direction. Just shy of the first down marker. Bring up a 3rd and 1, let's say. Bart Houston started the first 3 games of the season. We met with him prior to the game at Lambeau Field. Dad's favorite player growing up, Bart Starr. Senior quarterback, first career college start at Lambeau Field. And they win the game. That was simply amazing. 3rd down and 1. Let's see if they let Houston throw it here. Ramish the back to the right. Clement, ball carrier. Very close. Strong, stout defense there by Iowa. Faith Ika-Katiki leading the way.
Yeah, Ben Neiman, the linebacker, came up and stoned Ramish, the fullback. This is one of those games where you're going to want to keep your eyes on the fullbacks and linebackers. Ramish on Jewell and Neiman. And I think that's going to be close, but great play by Neiman. They had to get to the 36-yard line.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, wow. Great look from the sky cam, too.
Yeah. Take a look at Ramish here and Neiman here. Great collisions all game long. Your eyes on those linebackers and fullbacks, and Neiman really won that one. Just not able to keep Corey Clement from the 6 inches he needed to get the first down.
Ben Neiman made 11 tackles in the 3rd game of the season. He's 4th in tackles for the team all season with 42 coming in. So they get the first down, fresh set. Houston throwing to Clement out of the backfield. And he's out to the 27-yard line again. It's Neiman on the stop.
These nakeds are a big part of the Paul Chryst offense. When you run the ball as successful as Wisconsin does last week and so far in this game, the naked becomes a stinger. It's difficult.
I'm dying to ask you to explain to the people what naked is.
A naked bootleg.
Oh, I see.
What did you think it was?
Well, I didn't know which direction you're going. Haven't been around you that long.
Naked means the quarterback's coming around and there's nobody blocking the edge, so he's naked out there.
I got you. He's all by himself. 2nd and 1. Handoff, Clement. administering some punishment himself, not looking to avoid it. Desmond King stop, Todd.
And Clement, again, running hard. And you see this is a physical Iowa team, and this is going to be a four-quarter challenge for Wisconsin running the football. They had a great game last week running the football. First time, really, I thought all season long that they were dominant in the run game. But today, it's a little bit of a different animal. This Iowa defense is starting to play better versus the run.
It's third time, Todd, that they've been down here in this position, right? So this red zone needs to be better for Wisconsin. They miss a field goal, they get pushed back and have to punt. What they do here on first down.
9 first downs for Wisconsin to Iowa's just 2. Clement's been the workhorse. Give it to him again. Not much doing there.
No, and I think what you see from Iowa defensively and Phil Parker, their defensive coordinator, he knows that his corner, Des King, is better than any receiver that Wisconsin has. So he's going to lock him down, and he's going to put 7 or 8 guys in the box to stop Corey Clement. Parker's been around a long time, been a part of a lot of these rivalry games against Wisconsin, and knows exactly what Paul Chryst wants to try to accomplish.
Desmond King had 2 interceptions against Wisconsin last year. That was a 10-6 thriller at Madison. Turnover plagued for Wisconsin. That cost them the game. 2nd down and 8. Houston throwing. Got a man. It's Fumagalli. Did he get there? Touchdown, he did. The officials have signaled touchdown, Wisconsin.
What a creative play from Paul Chryst. I haven't seen this play all year from Wisconsin. Fumagalli gets the ball, reaching for the end zone. Knees are not down. The ball crosses the end zone. What great effort from Fumagalli.
Hand is okay.
Hand is all right.
Knee is not. Knee didn't look like it touched.
Under further review.
They're going to take a look at it. So Bart Houston comes in and leads as of now as a 58-yard, 8-play drive, ending with a 17-yard touchdown pass to Troy Fumagalli.
I think this is going to be a quick review. Again, hand is not down. Knee is not down. That ball is across the goal line. Give Paul Chryst a lot of credit too, because you come down third time and in the red zone and call a different play.
After
to get it in
further
the end zone.
review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown, Wisconsin.
Reese, what a day you're having too. You're 2 for 2 if you're scoring at home, people. You're on fire.
Just give it.
It's a long game.
A conference with the replay official before the game. We got on the same page,
Yep.
so we're all set to go.
Got it. Bart Houston, how about that? Now, what do you do next series?
Yeah,
What do you do next series
well,
now?
That's the problem, Comes in and then has a good series, and
Andrew
everybody saying, why don't
Endicott
you keep him in there?
boots it through. Maybe Alex Hornibrook isn't so confident all of a sudden. As Bart Houston came in, just threw a 17-yard touchdown pass. 7-0 Badgers. That's Toolbox. Last night, the Iowa and Wisconsin football managers competed in an 8-man flag football game for the Rusty Toolbox. Tradition began in 1991. The managers play whenever these two teams meet. Bob Dunn scored 2 touchdowns, helping Wisconsin win their 6th straight in the Toolbox. Kirk Ferentz actually said they've got boosters and alum calling him to recruit better managers so they can try to win that game in the rivalry.
They said the managers on both sides, they weren't so attentive this week because they wanted to save their legs. They weren't hustling around practice.
There was a whole lot more attention on this Toolbox game than you can imagine. It's a big deal, all in good spirit and college fun. And Wisconsin has won 6 in a row. Bouncing ball picked up at the 10-yard line. and get a bit of a return to the 24.
You know, Steve, that last touchdown came down to details. Watch the eyes of Bart Houston. He's going to look this way, and what that does to all the linebackers and safeties is move them to one side of the field. And here's Fumagalli. He's going to be one-on-one with the safety, which opens up a great lane to throw the football for the touchdown. The details of playing quarterback, that's what Paul Chryst emphasizes, and that time Bart Houston did a great job with his eyes moving the defense.
So let's get ahead of this, Grease. Who's Chryst throwing out at quarterback next series when they have the ball?
It's tough to say. I would think you would go back to Hornibrook. I think you say, Bart Houston, you got one series, take all the decision out of it, tell them before the game you're going to have one series, then Hornibrook's back in.
Handoff to Wadley. He's got the speed, and he's got the moves. Second and short coming up at first. Adnan.
All right, Steve, let's take a look at Kansas State's smart touchdown play brought to you by Holiday Inn Express. This is Jesse Ertz here, the quarterback keeper for 19 yards. His first career game with 2 rushing scores as K-State up 14-0 over on ESPN2. It's early in the second quarter. Not looking good for Charlie Strong.
All right, Adnan, thank you. Texas will host Baylor next week. Baylor ranked 9th in the nation, undefeated. They're off this weekend. Handoff, it's Wadley again. Crashes forward, has enough for the first down, and Vince Beagle on the stop. We talked about Beagle early.
Yep.
I might have mentioned his name one other time.
Well, they've been rotating, Steve. They've been rotating Beagle, T.J. Watt, and then Garrett Dooley at that outside linebacker spot. I think it's smart. You know, Beagle's back in a hurry from having a screw put in his foot. You don't want him to play 65 snaps in the game. You only want him to play 25 or 30, so rotate him around, keep him fresh.
That surgery was some 3 weeks ago. Said to be a quick healer. Who's young and not a quick healer, right? Here's Beathard throwing down the field, has a man, and Shield, he can't hang on. Jay Shield had a step on Luber and Figaro.
Well, Shield and Figaro have been going at it. This is a great throw from Beathard. Boy, close. It's interesting, you know, they're targeting Shield a little bit more than Jermanique Smith. Smith is the speed guy on the outside, a true sophomore. Had a 45-yard run last week and has been their big play receiver, but Shield's getting an opportunity to try to make plays.
Here's Beathard. Screen out of the backfield, and Wadley can't hang on. Brings up a 3rd and 10.
That was well defensed by this Wisconsin defense. They saw and read screen immediately, and they weren't out there to make the tackle, but they got in the way of the throw and made C.J. Beathard put a little bit too much air on it.
It's hard not to get frustrated, though, Grease.
Yep.
As a quarterback, when you make that throw to the sideline, and even that screen, that's a ball you can catch. It's just interesting watching his body language. He's done a great job of not letting his teammates know how frustrated he is, but you know he is.
Yep.
Beathard in all sorts of trouble, trying to run out of it. Got a lot of the yardage back, but not enough to get the first. Jack Cichy brought him down.
You know, frustration, Todd, you can't let it get in your head and take you out of your reads. That time I felt like he had McCarron coming on a shallow cross, hoping for a potential first down. You'll see number 83 coming across the screen, and his eyes go down and starts to look at the rush, and it's tough.
Ron Caluzzi gets it away. Clement to let it bounce. Takes a high bounce, then a big Iowa bounce, and an Iowa roll all the way down to the 1. 57-yard punt. Who's going to lead Wisconsin's offense back on the field? 7-0 Badgers.
We are in the bowels of Kinnick Stadium, and this week's AT&T Inside Access, we're going to take a look at what makes this visiting locker room of the Iowa Hawkeyes so unique. Come on inside. So welcome inside the mind of legendary coach Hayden Fry, a psychology major at the University of Baylor, and he studied the psychology of color. This is Innocence Pink, and he meant for it to have a calming effect on the opponents of the Hawkeyes before they take the field. But undoubtedly my most colorful memory of this locker room is this pink bathroom. Dirty rose is the color of these urinals, but Levy, look at these stalls. They didn't used to have doors on them.
Oh,
Can I get some privacy, please? Come on, man.
God, you had your pants on.
I mean, Grease, we're close. I know we're close and everything.
Disaster averted.
That's a little too close.
I'm feeling real calm today in the booth. You know, I've just spent all that time in the pink locker.
Alex Hornibrook is, in fact, back. When I say back, he's back just about at his goal line. He's standing in his own end zone on 1st down and 10. And Hornibrook trying to give some breathing room. He'll dive left for a yard or 2. So I mean, that was my first experience. I'd heard for years about it. I was shocked how pink it was. You're sporting the pink as well.
I wore pink today. Yeah,
I got a little pink in the blue tie. Could remind me next week,
when you come to Kinnick, you got to wear pink, right?
So do you think it works? Do we think over the years it's had any impact at all?
You know what Hayden Fry used to say? When a coach would come to complain to him on the field before the game, he knew he had him. Right, Bo Schembechler was famous. He used to bring big sheets of white paper and put it up on the walls because he hated the pink locker room. But no, it didn't have much effect on him.
No, you of course never lost the game in the stadium, I'm sure. There's so much locker room hijinks over the years in the NBA. You hear about it all the time, and you see there's an injured Hawkeye down. That's Nathan Bozada, the junior from Howells, Nebraska.
He's a big part of their defense.
While he's attended to, we'll step out. Hawkeyes trailing by a touchdown.
See Nathan Bozada being helped off the field, the junior defensive lineman. He is right here, number 99. It's like he got that right leg caught underneath him. Scary looking play there for Bozada.
His backup is Faith Ikakati, the senior from Brampton, Ontario, as Don Cherry would say. Good Canadian boy, I tell you. Adnan will agree as well. On 2nd down and 9. Give to Clement. Able to leap over a couple of people like Jaleel Johnson. And able to get out to the 5.
Well, with Bozada out, more of the pressure on Jaleel Johnson. He's their senior leader. Todd, what do you see from down there right near
That was
Johnson?
a great play by Jaleel. He flew off the ball with good leverage and kind of saved the play. I think Clement had a chance to pick up 7, 8, 9 yards in that run if Jaleel didn't get his arm in the last second. But you're right, he's a key player now in the middle playing nose tackle.
It's a great look down there for you, Todd.
3rd and 6. A.J. Taylor on that jet sweep. Desmond King made the stop. Not going to get there. 4th down.
Obviously, you don't want to put Iowa in a position to make a big play on the defensive side. A little surprised they didn't throw there, but just the inability to get a push on front for offensively. That's why it's so good sometimes being in the end zone. You guys have that all 22 from the sideline. Being in the end zone, I can get that tight copy look, if you will.
Here's P.J. Rosinski. Punting away. Great field position upcoming. There is a flag down back of the 12-yard line. Rosowski got it away.
Well, it was such a bad punt that if that's against Wisconsin, I'm sure that Kirk Ferentz will decline it.
Let's see.
During the kick, holding, return team, number 27. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. Iowa ball, 1st down and 10.
First accepted penalty of the game. Here's another good old Canadian boy, I tell you, Adnan Virk.
Leaves, you know, me and Grapes have a little rock'em sock'em football too. Indiana and Northwestern. It's Clayton Thorson here to McCann Wilson, 32 yards from the touchdown, as them Cats up 21-3 right now, early in the 2nd. Steve, back to you.
Adnan, thank you.
Boy, Northwestern, they're a team that's
You're on 'em.
sneaking up. I mean, they scored 50-plus points against Michigan State last week. They have already beaten the Iowa Hawkeyes, and next week's big game against Ohio State.
Iowa's best starting field position today at the 44 of Wisconsin. Handed off to LaShawn Daniels. Gets out to the 40. T.J. Edwards makes the stop.
You know what I was saying before, it's so good to be in the end zone. I think the trenches also reading quarterbacks' eyes on drops, but there, Greasy, we talked a lot about how this Iowa offense, when it's working in the run game, do a great job with that zone blocking, pushing off into the double teams and getting off to the second level. So far today, they're struggling, I think, up front to be as effective as we've seen the last couple of games.
Yeah, it's tough against this defensive front.
Beathard throwing. What a grab by Riley McCarron. One-handed catch and then tiptoes down the sideline.
Just a playmaker. You know, he's only 5'9", 186 pounds, and he's having to take over for Matt Vandenberg. Big shoes to fill. They'll throw this 3 or 4 times. It's an extended run. It's a run-pass option, or Iowa's version of it. McCarron just sticks that mid out there and snags it.
Gain of 11 on the play.
By the way, I think that's the most Todd McShay's been in the end zone. He didn't spend much time there in Richmond.
Deepest penetration so far for Iowa. Here's Daniels trying to break free. And gets pushed back, and now they blow the whistle. Crowd wanting a penalty call.
Okay, go ahead, Todd. I know you got something to say.
I was just going to say it was a nice kick-out block by the left guard. They do a good job on pulls and also on movement stuff with the zone blocking, always moving east to west, but then trying, as I said, to peel off those double teams and get a blocker out to the second level. And there, Daniels really benefited from some good blocking up front.
Looked like Todd was sneaking up on the official there for a second, too, I thought.
I'm always trying to hide away from these guys.
Brady Ross and Akram Wadley. And it's second man through Wadley. He'll spin around again. He's certainly good at that. Looks like he's really short. I mean, just short of the first down.
It's interesting that they use Wadley in these short yardage situations in between the tackles. You would expect for it to be LaShawn Daniels. Daniels goes 225 pounds, and Wadley is 190, soaking wet. I think they're going to measure this.
The other thing that's good being down here on the field is just listening to the hitting. We had a great game last week with Clemson, NC State, and that NC State defense. You could just hear the hitting from the first snap. And today, with both of these teams, obviously two of the most physical teams in college football, you can just hear it. It's just a little bit louder, the cracking of the helmets and the shoulder pads.
Well, you got the best linebacking core in college football for Wisconsin, and then you got the fullbacks, you know, Kulik and Ross and those guys coming up on the second level. You're going to hear some hitting.
We like just parachute you into the stadium with that look, right onto the football.
Kirk Ferentz has cut his teeth as an offensive line coach, one of the most experienced and best coaches in all of football. Takes a lot of pride in this offensive line for the Hawkeyes.
Brady Ross is the fullback in front of LaShawn Daniels on 3rd down and 1.
Oh, offside. George Kittle, the tight end, Steve.
False start. Offense, number 46. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
In these short yardage situations, as a quarterback, I never like to use a quick count, right? I always wanted to use a standard count on one for this reason, because you get up there and go on a quick count, and the tight ends, first time they hear anything, they jump.
As was the case there, Kittle, who left last week with a foot injury, left the stadium in a walking boot. He said they have to be really smart with how they play in this week in terms of the numbers of snaps. So you see he'll step out on 3rd down and 6 now after the penalty.
That's where you got to find McCarron. Riley McCarron in the slot. It's all-out blitz.
And again, crowd couldn't hear the whistle.
To delay a game.
They get the timeout. 0's on the play clock.
Prior to the ball snap, timeout. Iowa. Their first of the half.
It's a good timeout.
Well, it was a big missed opportunity for C.J. Beathard. He had exactly what he wanted. Had Riley McCarron matched up against an all-out blitz, and you just got to keep your eye on the play clock. His coach is saving from the sideline. There's nobody back here, right? And here's McCarron. He's going to come. He's wide open. And C.J. Beathard does a nice job of recognizing it's going to be a touchdown, Steve. But you got to we went back to the details, right? Wisconsin scores a touchdown. As a quarterback, you got to have all of it, and just too much time.
Right, it was going to be a touchdown unless it would have been a delay of game penalty.
Right.
Unless you got it in that because you have to take the timeout.
So now let's play it forward. You know, if you're Justin Wilcox, defensive coordinator for Wisconsin, you're not coming with the same blitz, right? It's the last thing you're going to do. You probably play coverage here. And you know, I thought coming into this game that C.J. Beathard was going to need Justin Wilcox there. Thought he was going to need to make 3 or 4 plays with his feet, conversions in situations like this for them to pull this upset. See if he uses it here.
3 receivers, bottom of your screen this time. 10 on the play clock for Beathard to snap it out of the gun. Good protection. Now it breaks down on the run, and he'll throw it away.
I'm not so sure he couldn't have used his feet right there, Steve. You know, he's outside the pocket. Obviously, Watt's a good player, but you start running there, and there's nowhere to throw the football. At least try to get the first down with your feet. See if he could.
It was strange. His eyes dropped, and then picked them back up.
Boy, I guess he just didn't trust the speed to get to the outside, Todd.
Here's Keith Duncan, the field goal kick from 41, and it is good. And the Hawkeyes are on the board. 3:49 left in the half, 7-3 Badgers. Yep. Time for the Aflac trivia question. Kirk Ferentz has been named the Big Ten Coach of the Year 4 times, tied for the most all time. Who's Ferentz tied with?
Oh, wow.
Want a hint?
Well, first 2 that come, you know, Bo and Woody, right? You throw those in there, but you go way back. I mean, what era are we talking? Give me an era.
No.
Not Ara Parseghian either.
No. Well, that's not a terrible guess.
Oh, is that not a bad guess? Northwestern, that's right. I'll go with Ara.
That's a good guy to go with. And instead, the answer is...
Oh. See, I said him first.
How do you say that last name? Schembechler.
There you go.
We're partials to Bo on this crew anyway.
I wonder if Parseghian, how many he won?
That's a good question. 7-3 Wisconsin. Under 4 to play here in the first half. Again, it was a 10-6 matchup a year ago. No one would be surprised this holds up as the final score. Austin Ramish doing his thing, the fullback out of the backfield.
I really like Austin Ramish. He's a very versatile tool for this Wisconsin offense. You see him obviously as a lead blocker quite a bit for Corey Clement and Agumbawale. You see him score touchdowns down inside the 5-yard line on that little dive, but he's also a great receiver. That time they get him a screen, big first down.
Delayed handoff to Clement. Maybe a yard. Josie Jewell on the stop. Jewell with 61 tackles, leads the team, 6th in the conference.
He's a great player. Talked with him yesterday. He's an intense guy. You know, with that name, you know, I want to call him the Outlaw. You know, Outlaw
Right.
Josie Jewell.
Yep.
I don't know if he likes that, but outstanding core linebacker. They're tired of hearing about Wisconsin's linebackers. Bauer, Jewell, and Neiman.
Boynbrook throwing across the middle, able to complete. Has Kyle Peniston with plenty of running room. Kyle Peniston, the freshman from California, on the long game.
We talked with Phil Parker, the defensive coordinator for Iowa last night. He said this weak side dig is one of the favorite things that Wisconsin likes to do. He knew it was coming, just unable to play. And that was Desmond King. You know, they're Thorpe Award winner out there, but sometimes when a corner gets matched up on a big tight end like Peniston at 6'4", 240, they just don't play it right. They get lulled to sleep.
And King is one of the best tacklers after the catch in the country. Only 2.2 yards per catch allowed after the reception coming into this game.
Handoff, here's Clement, trying to back his way down by the goal line. Peniston maybe caught Iowa by surprise a little bit, just his 4th catch of the season. And that went for 54 yards to get him down by the goal line.
Where we were talking about Ramesh. They love the quick hitter to the fullback inside the 3.
And that's who it goes to, Ramesh. Good call, Grease. Maybe gains a yard and some extracurriculars. Jewell at the bottom of the pile.
We were talking to Josie Jewell last night. He mentioned that quick hitter by Ramesh, so he was not fooled. He anticipated it and stuffed that hole.
Wisconsin taking their sweet time. They have 3 timeouts. See, a minute 15 left in the half. Third and goal. Clement trying to leap over. Football comes out. It's recovered by Iowa. Desmond King. To see if he crossed the goal line. Well, this crowd at Kinnick Stadium doesn't think he did.
We're going to have a great look at this from our sky cam right over top. It's probably going to be our best look. Here he is. He's going to get caught up, and then he's going to extend that ball out right there, and it's coming out before he crosses the goal line. It's a great look from our sky cam.
Jewell got the pop that knocked it free, and then King would recover in the end zone. And the call on the field is fumble.
Yep. Yeah, it is, and there's got to be obviously conclusive video evidence to overturn that, and that's the danger of extending that ball.
The ruling on the field of a fumble recovered in the end zone for a touchback is under further review.
If you extend that ball as a running back, you better make sure it crosses the plane, because the odds are that it's going to come out because everybody's punching at that football.
Reese, I'm surprised that doesn't happen more, that the ball doesn't get knocked free. You see all the players, especially in the NFL, they do it all the time.
Right.
And guys,
extend just the football.
If this holds up, how about the red zone woes that Wisconsin's had now, really the last 2 weeks?
Well, and last year, Todd, remember, in this game, Iowa won the game because Joel Stave fumbled on the 1-yard line going in. They only lost by 4 points. Paul Chryst remembers last year and said, something we got to deal with.
Levy's still salty about having to do that game.
Stave had his foot stepped on while he was trying to hand off the Taiwan deal. 4 turnovers in that game for Wisconsin.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. Touchback, Iowa's football, first down and 10.
And that's the first turnover of this football game. And it comes in a big spot for the home team.
Well, and with less than a minute, this half has flown by because both of these teams been running the football so well, but wouldn't be surprised if Iowa's pretty conservative here before halftime.
Beckton will hand it off to Akrum Wadley. Finds a seam and has the first down. Here's Adnan.
All right, Leaves, thank you. Coming up on the Lexus halftime report, Lamar Jackson, the Heisman frontrunner, once again adding to his league-leading touchdown total against NC State. Also a big day in the Big 12. Always lots of points in that conference. And A&M taking on Alabama. Joey and Danny, appreciate the commiseration, Leaves, over the late night last night. We'll see you at the half.
All right, looking forward to that. Noah Fant on the receiving end of that C.J. Beathard pass. We were expecting to see a little more of Noah Fant catching the football.
2 big chunks right there, Steve. Obviously, now this changes the philosophy. Iowa's got 2 timeouts. They're close to the 50-yard line. They only need about 25, 30 more yards to get in position for a field goal attempt.
Keith Duncan, their kicker, his long, and he also is an inexperienced true freshman, his long on the season is just 28 yards, so we'll watch for that. Here's Beathard. Throwing downfield, little back shoulder for Jermanique Smith. Figaro.
Got what they wanted, one-on-one coverage with Jermanique Smith, their fastest player, and I thought Smith needed to fight back more for this ball. I mean, the ball's not going to be perfect. You fight back for that ball, you might catch it, but more than anything, you're going to get a pass interference penalty. It's just that's too cavalier right there from Smith. Missed opportunity.
That's the first target of Smith as well?
Yeah.
We haven't seen a lot of him. We expected to see more. Here's second down and 10. Sillo's 2 timeouts in Ferentz's back pocket. Out of the backfield is Wadley. He's out of bounds, cross midfield. Sitchy got him.
This is the area of the game where they really missed George Kittle, and Kirk Ferentz knows he was their most dependable receiver, the tight end. He's just not healthy enough to run routes. So Fant, as you mentioned, who's a true freshman, talented kid, 6'5", 220 pounds, needs to take over in that pass-catching role for the Hawkeyes.
Kittle watching from the sideline on 3rd down and 4. McCarron in motion. Now he sets. Beathard looking his way and finds him 1st down yardage.
You might want to use the timeout if you're Kirk Ferentz here. And he does, under 20 seconds. It's a great throw there from Beathard. That was a tight window. McCarron, again, running that little out and back in. Has to be a perfectly thrown ball. It's a big drive here. You get some points before half. You get the big stop.
Hey, tonight on ABC Saturday Night Football, J.T. Barrett, number 2 Ohio State. Another tough Big Ten road test in the Happy Valley. Everybody's going to be in white tonight. They'll take on Penn State. Buckeyes, Nittany Lions. Saturday Night Football presented by Walmart. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN.
We were talking with Kirk Ferentz last night where they need to get to for their freshman kicker. He said maybe the 27-yard line is their target for Keith Duncan.
Still 1 timeout left. Here's Beathard. Some pressure, gets out of it. Now on the run, now wants to get out of bounds, and he does. And he was tackled well out of bounds, I thought. I don't believe a flag has been thrown.
Well, he's underneath the bench over there. These sidelines are so close, Steve. I remember playing here. There was no room on these sidelines. And Sitchy, you're running full speed, and those guys go out of bounds, and it's not always safe. I mean,
well, it's great for the fans. It enhances the fans' experience. But you're right, tough on the players.
I mean, they're running full speed, and he goes down. You're not stopping. He hits that bench hard. His back exposed. Good thing he's all right.
And no flag on the play. Ball spotted at the 40 of Wisconsin.
Got to recollect yourself here. You can still throw the ball in the middle of the field. You got 11 seconds, but you better not be running around in the pocket, because if you do that, you might burn 11 seconds.
Beathard, the Wadley. I'm not sure the 1st down matters so much with 5 seconds left.
That was a great
gain
play.
of 11.
Great play, because they need to get to the 27. That's what Kirk Ferentz told us. Take what they give you and get what you can down to the 29-yard line, where you give your field goal kicker a chance.
They're going to bring him out there.
And great poise by Beathard. You know, it's you come out and you hit the bench and it's all flustered, and come back and make the right play.
This is Miguel Recinos, the kicker. He's their long distance guy. And Wisconsin.
Wisconsin
has all 3 of their timeouts.
30 seconds in length.
Now down to 2.
Well, Ferentz told us that Keith Duncan would be around the 27. I guess we're at the 29, so they're going to bring in Recinos, who's got a little bit more range, but not quite the accuracy.
Recinos has only tried 1 field goal on the season and missed from 50.
We knew this was going to be a tight game. You know, these 2 teams in history have been so tight. Probably going to be less than a touchdown at the end, and how big this field goal is going to matter.
This Iowa drive, 51 yards in 49 seconds. We'll see if it results in points. 47-yard field goal attempt from Miguel Recinos.
Out. Wisconsin. Second of the half.
It's like the NBA. Wisconsin going back-to-back timeouts.
They need to get rid of that rule, right? You can't do back-to-back. Just one.
You're good
One's
with
enough.
one.
Yeah, one's enough.
NFL Insiders will come your way tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. All your inside action. Get you caught up to date. Then at 11 a.m., Chris Berman, Wendy Nix, and the gang, Sunday NFL Countdown. And this week on ESPN's Monday Night Football, Brock Osweiler returns. The crowd will go wild. Maybe not wild.
Not.
Yeah. See what Von Miller has to say about that. Be the Broncos and the Texans on Monday night. They're not going to use one more timeout, Grease, are they? They're going to let him kick this one. Make him think about it.
Ooh, in your eye.
Rosinos, good. From 47. And at the half, it's a 1-point game. Go to Adnan Burke, Joey Galloway, Danny Kanell. Get ready for the Lexus halftime report.
They all want just a little piece of this freedom, yeah. We all wanna break the chains, feel the wind against our face. Everybody wants the same thing. We wanna taste that freedom.
Welcome back to Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. You're watching the Big Ten on ESPN. Take a look at our first half stats, brought to you by Dell. As you would expect, not a whole lot to chew on.
Hard-fought game.
Wisconsin moving the ball pretty good up and down the field, just stalling out, unable to score. Big turnover at the goal line. But if you expected a, 35-35 kind of first half, you're in the wrong place. This is Iowa, Wisconsin.
Oh, you're gonna like defensive football.
This is 7-6. This is exactly what we expected.
Well, the difference in the first half is that fumble on the goal line by Corey Clement.
Yeah.
It's an 11-point swing or 10-point swing there. They should really be up 11 points in the first half, but as it is, a 1-point game.
Wisconsin will get the football to start the second half, and who's coming out as the starting quarterback in the second half, Wisconsin?
If it's me, if I were Paul Chryst, I'm sticking with Alex Hornibrook. He's the one. I think if it were me, I think what he's trying to do is motivate his young redshirt freshman by having Bart Houston take a series, and we'll see how Hornibrook responds.
It's quite a series, by the way. Guys in the studio were talking about it at halftime. Bart Houston came out, led a drive immediately down the field and a 17-yard touchdown. And there you see the numbers to this point. Houston perfect, and Hornibrook, let's say, not so perfect. Todd McShay.
Yeah, I think the play is to go back to your starting quarterback. Hornibrook is your starter. Houston had a great drive, obviously builds his confidence, and now you can go to him. And I think we're going to see both quarterbacks in the second half, but I still think this is Hornibrook's offense for Wisconsin, and I really believe that he's going to be on the field a lot more than we'll see Houston in the second half.
Out at the 25, that's where Wisconsin and Alex Hornibrook will start, leading 7-6. We open up quarter number 3. Here's Corey Clement, the ball carrier. Stopped there by Faith Ekakati. Ekakati replacing Nathan Bazata, who was injured in that first half.
I think what's evident is that this Iowa defense is going to stack the box. I mean, they understand that Wisconsin a week ago against Ohio State got that running game going. They're going to make Alex Hornibrook make the plays in the passing game to win in the second half.
Hornibrook out of the gun. You get a good look at it. To the left of him is Clement. Hornibrook to pass. And passing and completing to Clement. For the short game, Desmond King on the stop.
Have a big third down here early in the second half. This crowd is getting into the game. Come out of the halftime, if you're Wisconsin, you have the football, you got to put a drive together. You don't want to go 3 and out, give momentum to the Hawkeyes.
70,585 in attendance at Kinnick Stadium tonight. 90th meeting all time. Here's 3rd and 7. Hornibrook throwing and completing. Dare Ogunbowale, as usual, has the first down.
Well, Iowa has had no answer for this route. They talked about in the first half, just a little Texas route, which to me means go out and then come back in. They clear out with Peavy, they clear out with Fumagalli, and it creates a vacuum in the defense. Great design out of the bunch by Paul Chryst, and that's the 3rd time Ogunbowale's made him pay.
That's a giant hole to work with right there.
It's impossible against a quarter's look when you got 3 guys coming out and then a back fills in.
Right back to Clement on first down. Really going according to the script, right? Clement on 1st and 2nd, Ogunbowale on 3rd. Matt Nelson made that stop. Nelson goes 6'8". He is the tallest player on the Iowa team. Sophomore from nearby Cedar Rapids.
And it's an advantage for him, obviously, in the short passing game. He can get his hands up. But I really think it's difficult to play the defensive end position when you're that tall because it's such a big target on your chest for the offensive lineman.
2nd and 7. Here's Clement.
At interior of that Iowa defensive line, even without Buzzetta, who's out of this game, Cockatoo you mentioned, and Jaleel Johnson, you can't talk about him enough. He's an underrated player for this Iowa defense.
Sorry, they're just grinding out a few yards for each run on 1st and 2nd down, but it's setting up a manageable 3rd down. That's the key. I mean, it may not be pretty, picking up 2-3 yards on 1st and 2nd down each, but 3rd and 4 is really manageable for this quarterback.
We'll watch for Agunbowale again. Got to think Iowa's watching for him also on 3rd and 4. Out of the backfield, couldn't hang on to that one, wouldn't have had the 1st down anyway. Bo Bauer on the coverage.
But it's a great adjustment. Agunbowale's beat him coming to the inside 3 times. This time, you have to play inside if you're Bo Bauer because he's come in there, then you run him to the flat. It was a great design play, just didn't come down with the grab. And to Todd's point, yeah, they're in 3rd manageable situations, but there haven't been explosive plays outside of the Peniston catch for this Wisconsin offense.
Here's Lottie to punt it away. High kick, looking right into the sun. Desmond King, all sorts of problems. Good job by him to hang on to that football after the 37-yard punt by Lottie. 1-point game in Iowa. Levy, Greasy, and McShay back at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, taking a look at our Napa Auto Parts Drive recap.
Yeah, right before half. Good patience and poise by C.J. Beathard. Been knocked around a little bit. He gets the ball to his playmakers. To Wadley here, he gets just enough to the 29-yard line to allow Racinos to come in and make this a 1-point game.
Here come the Hawkeyes on 1st down and 10. Trailing by a point. It's LaShawn Daniels. Stopped by T.J. Edwards after a gain of about 5. And there's an injured Badger down on the field.
Boy, that looks like
could be T.J. Watt.
Yeah. Boy, T.J. Watt has had a career marred by injuries. The 2 knee injuries when he was playing tight end for Wisconsin. He was rolled up on the back of his legs 2 times, and that's why they ultimately moved him to defensive end. Paul Chryst came to him and said, listen, probably what's best for you and your knees is to go to the other side where people aren't coming up behind you, but you can actually attack people, and good to see him up and jogging off.
Garrett Dooley replacing Watt for the time being. Keep you posted. Todd reporting from the sideline. Derek Tyndall, the cornerback for Wisconsin, has a right leg injury and will not return. So we'll watch for that. Titus Booker is in Tyndall's spot, the freshman from Round Lake Beach, Illinois. On 2nd down and 4. Hand off to Daniels. Football is out. No one knows it's loose. And Iowa, with Jay Shield able to recover that. Everyone's looking middle of the field at the pile, and that football scored it out.
Boy, LaShawn Daniels was trying to get a few extra yards. And a hit right on the ball. That's Figaro, Lubern Figaro, the corner. And Shield was standing around. He just noticed it. The coaches may have helped him see that ball. Heads up.
What are we looking at?
The ruling on the field was a fumble recovered by the offense in advance. Is under further review.
So let's make sure this is a fumble. Figaro comes in there, and it's pretty clear that ball is in
fumbling is something that's not taken lightly anywhere, but certainly with Iowa and the way they want to play, running the football and the physical attack and defense, they just can't afford. That's why Wadley, the backup running back, almost lost his job actually because of fumbles early in his career, and I guess ironically enough, he's the one who comes in now as they kind of punish Daniels for that last fumble.
And you can't advance a fumble on offense as long as it's not 4th down, which it wasn't.
And that was a hard hit on the ball. I don't blame Daniels for that.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, Iowa.
So they get away with one. If they would have lost that ball inside their own 30, been tough to recover from. I hope that Todd didn't just jinx Akram Wadley there. You know, he's not going to mention how many touches he's had since he had his last fumble. It's been a lot, though. Good job by the young man.
I do not believe in television jinxes. Beathard out to Riley McCarron. Gonna throw it. Wide to throw it. And he's dropped down.
They wanted to throw the ball back to Akram Wadley and Riley McCarron. They're trusting him. You see him. Here comes Wadley out of the backfield. They're going to throw, but watch the safety here, Musso. If McCarron decides to throw this ball, I'm not so sure it wouldn't have been intercepted. That was a good job by McCarron of just taking the loss. You cannot afford a turnover there. You can't afford a loss of 4.
Nearly turned it over the prior play on a fumble. Possibility of a couple of turnovers. But in the end, Iowa maintains possession. Here's 2nd and 14. And that pass is dropped for Wadley. Adnan Burke, take it away.
All right, Leaves, thank you. Watch out for Rutgers. Both their wins this season have been 2-score comebacks. They're down against Minnesota, and then Andre Patton to Giovanni Ruscino. Scarlet Knights right now down by 7. It's over on ESPNU early in the 3rd. Steve, back to you and Brian.
All right, Adnan back just in time for 3rd and 14. At their own 28.
Look at this defense.
Rushing 2, really. Dump it off to Daniels. Got some blockers in front of him. Nowhere near the 1st down mark.
And Kirk Ferentz there was just happy to avoid 2 potential turnovers. Get a screen and get a punt and get out of here.
Ron Calusi's been rather busy today. Chaz Peavy back deep to return the punt. See if he gets an opportunity. Oof. Tough punt, short. Wisconsin will take over with some good field position. And they'll do so with a 1-point lead. 7-6, of course it is. Former Hawkeye great Niall Kinnick Jr. won the Heisman Trophy in 1939, threw for 638 yards and 11 touchdowns. That was a lot back then. And inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1951, Iowa renamed its football stadium Kinnick Stadium in his honor in 1972.
He was also the student body president.
Busy guy,
huh?
Back in the day. Hornibrook with all sorts of time. Throwing down the field as a man. Quintez Cephas down to the 5. Quintez Cephas, the true freshman, makes an appearance in the game.
We talked about Wisconsin trying to find playmakers at the wide receiver position. We mentioned A.J. Taylor early in the game. Now it's Quintez Cephas' turn. These two guys are roommates. They study football together. They talk about the game. Chris has been so impressed with how these young true freshmen have taken to heart trying to make plays for this offense.
Crafty move, getting that little push off early in the route.
57-yard gain. Has him down at the 6 of Iowa, looking to cash in. Here's Hornibrook handing off to Corey Clement. And he'll bang forward for a yard. Desmond King made the stop along with Josie Jewell.
Well, this is last time they were down here is where they fumbled the football. And be interesting to see here on 2nd down in particular whether Paul Chryst decides to throw the football. They love to get the ball to Ramesh or Fumagalli on play action on 2nd down inside the 5.
And again, Wisconsin's problem has not been going down the field. They've had 4 or 5 very long drives, just have not been able to cash in, except for that one. Radish in front of Clement. 2 tight ends as well. Handoff, it's Clement. And he'll be stopped at about the 2-yard line. Matt Nelson making the tackle. 3rd and goal.
I've been impressed with the interior of this Iowa defensive line. Again, they lost Buzzardov, but Jaleel Johnson, Kakati. It looks like Buzzardov's back in the game, so good to see him back in the football game.
They need him here. Great look.
Yeah.
The shadows, you see Wisconsin come to the line of scrimmage.
There's 44 players out there.
How's your 2 deep? 3 tight ends. Handed to Clement. Gave it to him. Touchdown is the signal.
Well, it was close. I don't think he wanted to put that ball out again after fumbling the last time down, so he keeps it tucked high and tight. And I don't think he got in because he didn't reach
out. The ruling on the field is a touchdown, is under further review.
Jaleel Johnson takes on 2 blockers there, and he's the one that finally gets Clement to the ground. I'm not so sure that ball crossed.
No, I'm with you. And you have to think that Clement was told, do not do that again with the football, extending it over the goal line.
Jaleel Johnson, you can't see the ball from that angle, but you can see the effort of Johnson. It looked like the ball started to come out right there. Well, I don't know that there's enough evidence to overturn that call, though, Steve.
And again, the call of the field was touchdown. Jaleel Johnson is one of the 2 players on this Iowa defense that the Wisconsin coaches said just jumps off the film at you. One of the guys that really were concerned with heading into this game today, and Johnson a big stop there. Or what we think is a stop, we'll see.
Well, and that elbow comes down, which means that he's down at that point. I could see this going either way.
And usually if that's the case, then the call on the field would stand. Let's see.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. Touchdown.
And I think if they would have ruled him down at the 1-inch line, that would have stood too.
4 plays, 62 yards. The big play, 57-yard pass. Hornibrook to Quintez Cephas for 57 yards, setting up the touchdown. So Clement atones for now getting in there. Here's Endicott. He's missed 1 extra point this season. He nails that one. 14-6 Badgers.
Still want to go back to Houston?
Right. Let's check in with the guy. Let's see what the guys in the studio have to say about that at a later date. (14-6) Wisconsin. Best 2-loss team in the country, the Badgers, ranked 10th in the nation, despite consecutive losses. That's something else. Meanwhile, just beyond the stands here, you get a good look. That's the Stead Children's Hospital, Stead Family Children's Hospital that they've just built here. It looks like a beautiful building with a better cause.
Well, it's a great idea because you can see the top level of that building. They call it the press box. And once this hospital opens, the kids will be able to go to that top level and they can see over the stands to the field so they can watch the game. They got like a better view than we do.
That's
over
awesome. What a great idea. Anytime you can put a smile on a sick kid's face, man.
They said they're going to pump the AV in there too, so they can hear the call of the game. It's going to be awesome.
First down and 10. Handoff is Wadley. Hey, so that was a live picture we showed you. Is that football out?
For the ball out.
They're still fighting. Only now do we get the whistle.
Boy, isn't having trouble hanging on to the football. Daniels has had trouble. Clement has a fumble in this game.
Alec James might have knocked that free, and James is the guy signaling
there's no
Wisconsin football. Yeah, the officials haven't signaled anything.
Normally when they haven't said anything, and then that's been a fumble. They're waiting to see who comes up with it.
I can tell you this, the whistle had not blown.
Beagle says it's Wisconsin's ball. The officials say no. Iowa's going to retain possession.
That's Butker that comes up from the pile with it. Oh, it's Akram Wadley. Todd did jinx him.
I know. I was hoping you weren't going to remember.
That ball was clearly out long before he was on the ground. So credit Butker with coming up with a huge recovery. Back-to-back series. Shield recovers a Daniels fumble, and Butker now recovers one from Wadley.
Daniels is out of the game. Wadley checks out after the fumble. Daniels is in, and then Beathard able to fight off one hit and throws it away. Jack Cichy had the hit on Beathard but couldn't bring him down. And that was one of the stories for the Wisconsin defense a week ago. They got to J.T. Barrett. They couldn't bring him down.
Well, Cichy's right here. He's going to beat the block, and his nickname is 3-Sack Jack, you know, because he had 3 sacks in a row against USC in a bowl game. But that time, he doesn't wrap up C.J. Beathard, who is a gamer and gets outside the pocket and throws the ball away.
3rd down and 7. It's got to be so frustrating for a linebacker or a defensive lineman. You get home, and you can't punctuate it with a sack. 3rd down and 7. Here's Beathard. Off the fingertips of Jay Shield. Couldn't bring it in.
Well, they wasted a good protection down from that offensive line up front. All kinds of time for Beathard to step up and throw the football. And it looked like Smith had a little trouble getting out of that break on the comeback, and the timing was off.
Here's Ron Caluzzi. Punt number 6. He ran up and took a big hit. Jazz Peavy will pick it up on a bounce for Wisconsin and spin away out to the 38-yard line.
Our referee, Jeff Cervinsky, was right next to the punter, and he was declining. I think he might have been saying that he was blocked into the punter.
I thought he was going to run with it for a second there, too. It's a 45-yard punt.
I don't like those rugby punts. He definitely wasn't blocked into him. That could have been called. That's Arrington Farrar. He does hit him before he hits the punter, but it's a bang-bang play.
Wisconsin now with the 8-point lead and the football. Out of the 37. Jet sweep to Peavy. That was so effective a week ago. Haven't seen much of it today. College football action continuing tonight here on ESPN. First at 6 Eastern, it's Arkansas and Auburn. And then at 9, Ole Miss will head into Death Valley to take on LSU. Both games also available streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. A couple of showdowns tonight throughout college football. Peavy a week ago on that jet sweep. They went to it 5 times for 67 yards just in the first half. Ohio State eventually figured it out. That's Peavy on the receiving end from Hornibrook. Josie Jewell on the stop.
Wisconsin's thrown the ball on 1st and 2nd down more this season than I can remember in a long time. And I think it's getting this offense in rhythm. It's making them come up with 3rd and short scenarios. They don't run the ball as well as they have historically. And so I don't think Paul Chryst has beat his head against the wall with that, trying to continue to do that. He understands I'm going to have to supplement with a short passing game. It's helped him so far this season. Case in point, they're getting a 3rd one.
Last time was only the 3rd time in 22 years Wisconsin did not have a 1,000-yard rusher. Hornibrook from under center hands it off to Clement, and he has enough for the 1st down. You know, speaking of numbers, all these guys have eye-popping numbers in high school. I get that, Grease. Corey Clement, and as a senior in high school, had 1 game, 18 carries, 419 yards. I took the liberty of doing the math. That's 26.6 yards per carry. I know it's high school, everybody, but wow, Glassboro High School in New Jersey. 18 carries for 419. Today, the average is slightly off. 23 carries for 69 yards and a touch.
I give him a lot of credit. You know, last year was not a good year. He was hurt. There was a lot of people questioning his selfish approach. He's come back strong.
Hornibrook throwing down the field. It's got a hand, and he overthrew Peavy. We never overthrow at Ninberg.
Thank you, Lees. Loving those math skills by you, by the way. Also, Minnesota and Rutgers right now. This is Rodney Smith. So Minnesota can feel the Scarlet Knights coming and say, all right, how about this? First kickoff return for a score since 2014 as Smith is going to go the distance. Currently, Minnesota is up by 8 on ESPNU. Leaves?
10-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Came back just in time for the announcement of the penalty.
Yeah, they ran a double move on the outside with Peavy, and he was free, but Maben reached out and grabbed him. Probably a smart penalty, otherwise it may have been a touchdown.
Hand off to Clement, and you have to respect the jet sweep every time. They're constantly setting people in motion, Wisconsin.
This is the penalty on Maben. Peavy's just going to go up, run a little hitch and go. Maben reaches out. Didn't hold him by much. But yes, you do have to respect that jet sweep. And all you need is that linebacker to make one little shuffle, and then you get a big guard coming downhill on him and a big back at 230 pounds right behind him.
2nd and 5. Here's Clement. Not finding a lot of running room. Again, his average today is just 3 yards per carry. Brandon Snyder and Desmond King making the tackle.
Snyder is first-year starter. Phil Parker, and last 5 games he's forced 4 turnovers. Outstanding basketball player, football player in high school. His coach wants him to wrap up a little bit better. He loves to come and have the big shot, but he hasn't been wrapping up with the consistency that Phil Parker liked to see.
3rd and 3. What are you going to do? Hornibrook to throw. Ball was tipped at the line. Knocked away. Bo Bauer had the pressure, along with Josie Jewell. Couldn't find Fumagalli.
Great job by Bo Bauer. We talk a lot about Jewell, but Bauer, 41, does a great job of recognizing, reading the eyes of the quarterback and coming back. There's a shallow cross coming to him. He was going in the flat and then came back on the shallow cross just in time to break it up.
Long field goal for Andrew Endicott. Beat from 52, and we're going to get a timeout.
Timeout, Wisconsin. Their first of the half, 30 seconds in length.
They had 10 guys on the field. Endicott's long is from 46, so this would be something. Again, he is the field goal kicker in place of the injured Rafael Gaglianone.
Just starting to think about big picture here for Wisconsin and how critical. You have less than 20 minutes left in this football game. They start the season 4-0, including a win over LSU at Michigan State, and then 2 losses in their last 2 outings to 2 of the top 3 ranked teams in the country. They're still very much in this college football playoff picture, but they've got to get this win today.
And they host Nebraska next Saturday.
Big one.
Endicott the miss from 32. So why not try it again from 52? Missed it. Keeps it a 1-score game.
Absolutely, that was huge. The play by Bo Bauer and that miss right there keeps it an 8-point game. This game is long from over. It's a good kick. That's a long way. It's 52 yards. He hit it good, had enough length. Just slides by on the outside.
He knows.
Todd's right. I mean, the game. If Wisconsin can win this, the game next week becomes huge, obviously. And they would still. They don't control their own destiny. They would still need Nebraska to lose another game because Nebraska's undefeated. But they got to go on the road and play at Ohio State, and they finish here against Iowa.
Badgers the only FBS team to face 4 teams ranked in the top 10 at the time of the game. That's Riley McCarron. Chop it in half, bring up a 2nd and 5. Dakota Dixon made the stop. No other team has had more than 2 such games. And again, Wisconsin has faced 4 teams ranked in the AP top 10 at the time of the game.
Yeah. And this game's a breather, right? For
yeah, right.
Iowa's not ranked.
Rivalry game.
But yeah, next week, and then you see it gets light until that last game. But mention Northwestern. You know, that game at Northwestern will not be easy.
You're all over Northwestern. Hand off to Daniels. TJ Edwards makes the tackle. Bring up a 3rd and short. And for good reason, Northwestern. Wilbon will love you. Greeny will love you. A lot of Northwestern love in Bristol.
I like Clayton Thorson. I think he's coming on. He's one of the better quarterbacks in all the Big Ten Conference. And if he continues to grow under Mick McCall, he's going to have something to say about who wins the West.
3rd and 1. Got a fullback. Got a tight end in there. That's Daniels, the setback. Gonna give it to him on 3rd and 1. Nothing doing, not even close. Wisconsin led by Garrett Dooley with a big stop to get off the field.
And Joe Ferguson.
These guys have been quiet. Beagle's been quiet. TJ Watt, Garrett Dooley. But Dooley right there with a great job of taking on the kick-out block. Coming up with a big stop on 3rd down. You know, Dooley's, the thing about him, he may not be as fast as Beagle or TJ Watt, but he's a little bit bigger. He's 250 pounds, and he's low to the ground. Very difficult to root out in the kick-out block.
Galuzzi puts it in the air. Jazz Peavy will let it bounce. Once again, Adnan Burke.
Thank you very much, Steve Levy. Want to let you know what's happening right now with the Longhorns taking on Kansas State. I saw 1st and goal on Tyrone Swoops, the 8-yard touchdown. So Texas right now down by 10. We're through 3 on ESPN2. Steve, Brian, back to you, gentlemen.
Hear what he called you?
No, what do you call him?
Gentlemen.
Oh,
Must have been referencing Michelle.
No, notice they left me out, huh?
I was hoping you didn't hear that.
Hey, Adnan, I heard that, buddy.
1st and 10 for Wisconsin. 65 seconds left, quarter number 3. Play fake to Clement. Hornibrook looking to throw, and looking to throw it into the 2nd row. And again, these stands are tight, man. You are right there. It's got to be a fan's dream. It's not Mike Schwab's dream. Tough on the television directors here.
Yeah, our guys got great angles today. We can't have the cart that goes down around behind the bench, but it's very intimate here.
Not a bad seat in the house at Kinnick Stadium.
This is a great place to play.
Great venue.
From the locker room, I mean, the locker room is a great experience, but to come out, these fans on top of you, awesome.
Final minute of play here in quarter 3. And 2nd and 10. Jaleel Johnson, and I believe that's our 1st sack of the afternoon for either team.
Johnson goes right over Benshaw. Benshaw has no shot. You know, Phil Parker was telling us Jaleel, and he wants to go. When he wants to come off on the ball at 110% effort, there's nobody in the Big Ten that can block him, and Benshaw had no chance right there.
Carl Davis, the 3rd-round pick last year. I think this guy's even better. He's got all the talent in the world.
Johnson making his 22nd consecutive start today. Here's 3rd and 19. Hornibrook under pressure. He'll go down again. And again, it's Johnson. Back-to-back sacks. And that's how the 3rd quarter will come to an end. The crowd roaring its approval. Consecutive sacks by that Hawkeyes defense. Iowa will get the football back to start the 4th. Welcome back to Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. You're watching the Big Ten on ESPN. What a finish to that 3rd quarter. Back-to-back sacks by Jaleel Johnson. And Anthony Lottie is standing at his goal line. Lottie will get it away. Desmond King, the fair catch, and Todd, they'll start on the Wisconsin side of the ball.
Yeah, C.J. Beathard's not the guy you want to allow to hang around in games. He's 18-4 as a starter in his career. 5 of those 18 wins have come as fourth quarter comebacks. When trailing in the fourth quarter, he's led them back to win 5 times. So this guy, for all the toughness and the ability that he has, he's also clutch.
Yeah, Todd, but he's under the gun, too. No George Kittle, the great tight end, and he doesn't have his best receiver, Matt Vanderberg. You know, he's got to have some help. He needs some help outside from McCarron, Germany Smith, somebody shield. They got to make a play for the quarterback to win this game.
We'll see if they can hang on to the football here. Got some close calls. Wadley's the ball carrier. Crashes forward for a yard. Sitchy on the knock.
Yeah, they got to get more out of the running game. They got Wadley in there because he is explosive. This offensive line has done a decent job of getting guys on the ground. You see the production today just hasn't been enough.
They're looking for that home run like he gave against Minnesota, that game-winning touchdown run, 54 yards.
Beathard throwing it away.
Just good recognition there by Wisconsin defensively. They've seen that play on film. T.J. Edwards, a linebacker, took Wadley in the flat, and they had Dakota Dixon free to come pressure the quarterback, and there's nowhere to go with the football from C.J. Beathard. Greg Davis, their offensive coordinator, he's going to need to come up with something to manufacture some production in the passing game, because 82 yards through 3 quarters is not going to get it done.
10 of 21.
Yep.
3rd and 9. Beathard's going to get taken down. Garrett Dooley and T.J. Watt on the sack. First sack for the Badgers defense.
I'll put you in C.J. Beathard's shoes right here from Skycam. Where are you going to throw the ball? 87 fan, nowhere to go with that football. Nobody's open. Trying to throw a dig on the weak side. You got a linebacker underneath, and that's a coverage sack. Greg Davis, you got to come up with something. You got to come up with some rubs, some way to manufacture open receivers.
Jazz Peavy, can see trying to shield his eyes from the sun. He wasn't anywhere near the football as a decoy as it bounces into and out of the end zone. A couple of strong defensive stands these last 2 series. Iowa football trailing by 8 when we come back. Wisconsin has the football, of course, and at quarterback, if you guessed Bart Houston, you are correct. Houston is 2nd series of the game. First down, he's handing it off to Corey Clement. Brandon Snyder forced him out. So what about this?
Don't ask me why.
Well, there's 2 parts. It's why, and B is, if you're Alex Hornibrook, how are you taking this as a starting quarterback in your own right?
Let's start with the most important thing. Is how does it affect the game? That's the most important thing. It's a 1-score game, okay? 8-point difference. Now you got 2 quarterbacks coming in. You're also rotating centers, Steve, okay? Brett Connors was in there. Now you got Michael Dieter in there. First and foremost, you fumble a snap here, you're putting the game at risk. That's number 1.
Off the play fake. And the throw. And the completion of Fumagalli with some running room. Brandon Snyder makes the stop, and I think Bart Houston is perfect in the game when it comes to passing.
Yeah, he's 4 for 4, throwing the football, safe throws here. It's a good job. It's a good job knowing. That's why we call it naked, by the way. You asked earlier. See, there's nobody blocking the outside defensive end. It's a nice job recognizing that, giving ground, and getting the ball to Fumagalli.
Another thing just to keep an eye on, it certainly has not factored in considering he's 4 for 4, but a righty compared to Hornibrook, who's a lefty.
It's a great point, Todd. I mean, the entire offense potentially changes because of the way they throw the football.
Handoff, Corey Clement. And listen, this decision between Houston and Hornibrook, we were at camp with Wisconsin. I mean, this came down to the very end before Coach Christ eventually named Houston as the starter for that opening game, but it was very close, and you got the sense Houston really only got the nod because he was a senior.
Well, I think he played better. I think if you ask Chris that, he'd say he played better. And then they win the LSU game, and everybody's feeling great. Then they play Akron, and they blow out Akron. But it was really the Georgia State game where Bart Houston struggled. After that game, that they kind of made the switch to Alex Hornibrook.
2nd down and 8 out of the gun. Houston throwing. And there's his first miss of the game, the first target, Robert Wheelwright. 3rd down. They'll get loud again here.
Yeah, in this situation, last drive was Jaleel Johnson's time, right? So I think the reason you see a new center is because Brett Connors on the last series got beat twice by Jaleel Johnson. That's why they moved Dieter to center. Let's keep an eye on that matchup right here in the middle.
There was talk about going to Tyler Biadish as well, the true freshman, another center. Here's 3rd and 8. Houston's got to get out of there. He'll tuck it. He's on the run. Take it on the defender head on. Let's see where they spot it. Looks like they're going to spot it just shy of the 1st down marker. Desmond King came up to put the lick on Bart Houston, and they're going to give him the 1st down.
And Bart Houston had enough time because Dieter handled Johnson. They ran the same stunt they did on the last series, but look at Dieter stone him. Gives Bart Houston just enough space to get out and use his legs. King does a great job coming up and making the stop. But a generous spot.
I thought he was short originally.
Oh, yeah. Well, I rolled on top of him.
The field as a 1st down is under further review.
You know, he's not down, obviously, when he's on top of King, and he seemed to roll over onto his back. Question is, where was the football when he landed on his back? Great tackle by King. He's not down, rolls over. Again, that's pretty close, which means
that shoulder.
His shoulder comes down right there. I think
That's
he's short.
a tough call.
I think he's short.
Yep. By the naked eye, I had him short too. There's that word. It keeps popping up in the broadcast. Can't understand.
Yeah, the ball was in his left hand.
And this is a critical spot in the game.
Yeah. I think that was in his left hand, but when he comes over, the ball looked like it was right at the line to gain. Isn't it amazing how many plays in college football are so close?
What did we do before the review process? Wait, we just went with the calls on the field by the human eye? Human error? Let's see. Big point in the game.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands as called. 1st down.
How about the effort, the 2nd out by Houston? When he didn't first get it and then to roll over, gave himself a chance there.
Did you see that smile on Bart Houston's face? Who's having a better time than he is? No one.
Is that a Jim Harbaugh reference?
I didn't mean to, but as a matter of fact, the one rush for 8 yards gives them the 1st down. They're across midfield. Handoff to Clement. Trying to pick a hole, and Bo Bauer made the tackle. 2nd down.
Iowa needs to come up with a stop. They almost got it there with King. They cannot afford to allow Wisconsin to go down and get any kind of, to make this a 2-score game. They just haven't had enough explosion with C.J. Beathard in the offense to think that they're going to come back in the last 8 or 9 minutes of this game and score twice.
Yeah, these two teams played last year, and Iowa won 10-6 to win the Heartland Trophy. 2nd and 7. So 14-6 isn't surprising anyone. Here's Clement again. Has not been able to bust it out the way he did a week ago. Clement's 29th carry of the game, so he's been the workhorse. Clement last week against Ohio State, 25 carries, 164 yards, matching his career high. And that was the first loss for Wisconsin when Clement went over 100 yards. His average today is less than 3. And here's 3rd and 5.
Boy, a lot of indecision from Iowa defensively. They were going to substitute, then they got their defensive line almost the way off, and then back on. They're gassed.
3rd and 5. Dare time. They'll try to sneak out there. And the throw for Jazz Peavy. Incomplete. Greg Mabin on the coverage there. 4th and 5 upcoming.
It's the first time where I really noticed a difference between Alex Hornibrook and Bart Houston. You know, you have a starter a lot of reps over the course of a season, over the course of a week, and they weren't on the same page right there, Peavy and Houston, and it cost them. It's hard to prep 2 quarterbacks to play a game.
No question. Hey, there are reasons not to do it. I got it. Lottie back to punt from midfield. The ball goes out of bounds. Iowa football at the 20 when we come back. Night following college football.
This Wisconsin defense on the season has been one of the best in college football, and again today they've had Iowa's number.
Iowa's number the last 3 series, not very good. That's Akram Wadley out of the backfield. Maybe just shy of the first down. Iowa's previous 3 possessions have all been 3 and out. So that Wisconsin defense has done the job. Can they do it again in a 1-score game? 9 minutes left.
So we mentioned Greg Davis, their offensive coordinator. You got to do something different, and so he has. Now you see no huddle. They're going to go up tempo, throw the ball on first down, get the ball in the hands of your playmaker, Akram Wadley.
2nd and 1. Here's my call, Grease. Love the 2nd and 1. It's Riley McCarron on the quick screen. And he has the first down. Dakota Dixon wrapping up.
It's interesting. Greg Davis kind of treating this like a 2-minute offense. Even though there's 8 minutes and 50 seconds left in this game and you're only down 1 score, he knows that this is the drive where they've got to go down and score.
Good pocket for Beathard. Throwing. Ranging up high. Germany Smith. His first catch of the afternoon.
The protection has been better. The 1st and 3rd throws here, he's had a little bit of time to throw.
Yeah, Ty, and you know, in a 2-minute situation or a no-huddle situation, when you have that defensive line on the field for 3, 4, 5, 6 plays, it makes it more difficult for them to rush the passer because they get winded.
Just the 2nd first down of the half for Iowa. 2nd and 4 now. Rushing 4. It's McCarron with some running room. Out to about midfield where he's slammed out by Titus Booker.
Back-to-back bubble screens. That's replacing their run game. They haven't been able to run it against this stout front 7, so flip it out to McCarron with a couple of lead blockers, and he gains another first down.
Keep an eye out for Noah Fant, the tight end. We haven't heard much of his name today, but he's athletic and can create some mismatches with his size.
Beathard is 4 for 4 on this drive. They're looking to go up top again. Short pass for Wadley. He can make some people miss. And he's down to the 35-yard line. Here come the Hawkeyes on the move.
Yep. Now what's Justin Wilcox going to do? Maybe you need to start bringing some pressure, play a little bit tighter, man-to-man. You can't let Akram Wadley just come out of the backfield. Free release, he's beat you on back-to-back plays.
Straight handoff this time to Wadley. Cuts it to the outside. And steps out of the 31.
That's that lateral agility that we talked about. Watching tape of him, so explosive with his ability to cut. He can string together moves, and then he accelerates off his cut foot. All the great backs in terms of creating yards with their ability to make defenders miss have that kind of ability, and Wadley's showing it right there.
6th play of the drive. That's the first run play.
And while Todd was talking, we saw Jack Sitchie go off the field hurt.
Oh, look at this. Beathard's going to take off up the middle. And CJ leans forward for an extra few.
Another good call there by Greg Davis. Change up. See Jack Sitchie, their stud inside linebacker, go off the field, and then Ryan Conley, his backup, comes on the field, and you run the quarterback draw right at him. This is the area of the field where I really think that Fant, as Todd mentioned, Fant needs to become a factor. Kittle was such a big part of the offense. He's a true freshman, but they need to get him to football.
Pressure from the outside. Beathard has to get rid of it early and threw it away. Lubin Figueroa came up.
Boy, eyes in the back of his helmet there. Not sure how he saw Figueroa coming out of the... Sometimes these corners come like that and they're breathing too hard. You know, don't give it away. You got to hold your breath when you get there.
Could you really hear it?
Oh, yeah.
You can hear it, the breath coming at you.
Maybe not the breath, but sometimes they'll scream
I was going
at
to say,
you.
come on, Greasy.
They'll scream at you thinking they're going to scare you, but all they're doing is giving themselves away.
2nd and 10. And it's bad breath sometimes, too, I would think. Here's Wadley on the short game. T.J. Edwards wrestles him down. This screams Big Ten football today, doesn't it? From the setting to the style on the field.
That's the 3rd catch on this drive for Akrum Wadley. I almost got to feel like Kirk Ferentz and Greg Davis, even if they don't get a first down here, may go for it. Sitchie still on the sideline.
Something's got to be wrong there.
It's like man-to-man across the board.
3rd and 5. Throwing. Looking for Riley McCarron. Sojourn Shelton on the coverage. 4th down.
No chance there. Justin Wilcox brings a pressure, and this ball had to be released. Another miscommunication there. It looked like Beathard thought McCarron would be inside. The thing about McCarron is he doesn't have that physical stature to get off of man coverage consistently, and Shelton gloved him.
And that field goal attempt, no, from 38, Keith Duncan misses. Still a 1-score game. But you'd like to have that. After Miguel Racino's hit from 47 earlier, they go back to Duncan, and he misses.
Not even close.
It's all about the little number next to the school, right? Let's take a look at this week's Associated Press College Football Rankings, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Is it Alabama and everybody else for you, Grease?
No, it's the top 3 and everybody else for me. But certainly that's going to be a great game coming up here in a little bit. Alabama and Texas A&M. You know, Texas A&M defense has gotten much better since they hired John Chavis. The Chief, I think, will have something cooked up for the freshman Jalen Hurts, but it's certainly going to be a struggle in Tuscaloosa.
On 1st down and 10, it is Alex Hornibrook back in the game. And Hornibrook handing off to Corey Clement. Brandon Snyder makes the stop, and some of the keys that both Brian and Todd had on that game.
Yeah, I thought that, you know, that A&M defense, that line, can they hold up, and then can they rattle Jalen Hurts? And I know, Todd, you think Trevor Knight's key.
Yeah, he's got to have a big game. Remember, back in 2014, that Sugar Bowl, over 340 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. Probably the best game that he's played in his career. He needs to have another one. It's obviously not going to be very easy on the road at Tuscaloosa, but he's got to play smart, not turn the ball over. He's got to use his feet, too, when he gets the chance.
2nd down and 4. Handoff, it's Clement. Desmond King, yet another stop for him. And sometimes networks collide, guys. How great to see Vern Lundquist on College Game Day today as the celebrity guest picker prior to him calling that game.
Yeah, the legend. Alex Hornibrook's back in this game. Got to make some plays here, you know, 3rd and 1. I know Paul Chryst wanted to take the air out of the football, probably run it here, but there's going to be a couple, 3-4 plays where Alex Hornibrook's going to need to make in the passing game to seal this game.
Ramish is the fullback. And they're going to hand it off to Clement. Breaks outside. And finally a big game for Corey Clement. It's been a whole lot of 3-yard gains for Clement today, and then that for 34.
Well, Josie Jewell, the linebacker, he had him behind the first down marker and just unable to get him on the ground. And we talked about the stiff arm there from Corey Clement. 230 pounds with that kind of speed. You know, you come up and try to get him on the ground, and it's difficult.
And everyone did their job. The defensive line did a great job blowing up the ISO block. And one of the most reliable tacklers on the defense for Iowa just is not able to wrap it up.
Clement, by the way, has carried the football 32 times. His previous long was 8 yards. He goes for 34 there. They give him a breather, and they give it to Ogunbowale on the carry there. He's been the workhorse. Again, the average is not what you'd like it to be, but he's been carrying the football all afternoon.
At the end of the day, the production, and you wonder, you know, as you have a physical back, you get into the fourth quarter, all those physical downhill runs start to take their toll, and all of a sudden the Jaleel Johnsons of the world aren't, you know, in the backfield, and it takes that's been the Wisconsin recipe for a long time, and this offensive line and running game starting to take over in the fourth quarter.
There you see Clement in this fourth quarter, exactly what you're talking about, wearing down that Iowa defense. On 2nd and 6, Bradrick Shaw checks in and carries the football, and he has the first down. 2:20 left in the game, with Iowa having all 3 timeouts remaining.
Yep. Kirk's going to take
And they'll use one here. And we'll take it with them. 1-score game here in Iowa City.
Got J.T. Barrett in your Heisman top 3?
Top 5 for sure.
Wow.
This drive, as Wisconsin trying to put this away, 5 plays, 55 yards, all of them on the ground, including that 34-yard run by Corey Clement. He's the ball carrier again out to the 21, and another timeout taken by Iowa, leaves them with 1 left.
This top 4.
See?
I mean, Lamar Jackson, especially, I know he's going off again today. Jabril Peppers is definitely in it for me. J.T. Barrett definitely in it. I don't think that Jake Browning, I mean, he's having a great year, but I don't think that that he's going to be in it at the end.
Is there somebody else?
Saying he's going to be out. This guy's going on the right. This matchup at the end is going to go a long way. If Peppers can do to Ohio State similar to what Charles Woodson did, return a punt, intercept a pass, affect that game,
yeah,
he's going to be there.
I agree. I would have him at number 2 right now behind Lamar.
I think, you know, the winner of that game and Lamar Jackson, those 2 are the front runners.
All right. I look forward to broadcasting that game with you this season, Grease.
Oh,
see if that falls into our lap on the old schedule. Check the email.
Nice work, Levy.
2nd and 5 upcoming. Give to Clement again. And another timeout. That should be Iowa's last with 2:12 left. Take a look at our blimp-worthy play of the game, brought to you by Goodyear.
Yeah, it's the difference in the game. It's a touchdown to Fumagalli. It was the first drive that Bart Houston came into the game. Did a great job with his eyes looking off the linebackers and got Fumagalli matched up one-on-one with Brandon Snyder, and great effort at the end, got into the end zone.
And here's Wisconsin with the opportunity. I mean, here's your biggest play, right? It's 3rd and 3. Iowa has now spent all of their timeouts. And the Hawkeyes need to get the football back in this 1-score game.
Yeah, certainly, and got to get a stop here. But then you figure they're going to attempt a field goal. Now, field goals have not been great today.
No,
we missed 3 of them.
they haven't.
So they're definitely not automatic, but they've got to get a stop here and hope for a missed field goal.
Maybe a turnover would be even better, obviously, because Beathard, once they do get the football back, the passing game to go down the field, that's been an issue today as well for Iowa. So the Hawkeyes need something big to happen here.
I would not rule out Paul Chryst throwing the football here. Loves to get Hornibrook on the edge with an option to get the ball to Fumagalli.
With everybody, you would think keying on Corey Clement on 3rd down. Of course, an incompletion. There's more time on the clock.
Paul Chryst going to call a timeout. He had a play call, didn't like what he saw.
Timeout. Wisconsin, their second of the half. 30 seconds.
You know, in the last 3 or 4 plays, they've run the ball to the left, and they have really depended on their stud left tackle, Ryan Ramczyk. Came into the season, nobody in college football knew who Ryan Ramczyk is, but everybody knows who he is now. He's one of the best left tackles in the Big Ten and in college football, and they're really riding him here on this drive.
Guy played a couple of years at Division III Wisconsin Stevens Point before transferring and sitting out a year.
Kind of took the Joe Panos route. You know, Joe Panos did the same thing and found Paul Chryst recruited him to come to Pittsburgh, and he said, you know, I don't think I want to leave home. I'm going to stay home. And so he went to Whitewater, and he was studying to be a welder. Imagine that.
Welder or football? Maybe I can make a living at this football thing on Sundays. We'll find out. Doing a terrific job here on Saturdays. Here's 3rd and 3. Wisconsin trying to put this game away. Clement stopped initially by Bo Bauer and just gets back to the original line of scrimmage along with Josie Jewell there, and it'll bring up 4th down, and the clock will tumble down under 2 minutes.
See what Paul Chryst decides to do here. He'll probably let it run all the way down, and he's going to call a timeout and then take his time to make a decision. But they lost yardage there. If they would have gotten, you know, a yard or 2 and brought up a 4th and 1, he might have thought about going for it, but he's going to call a timeout and then attempt a field goal.
You just have to remember, too, this is their backup kicker, Andrew Endicott. Came in the game 4 for 4 on field goal attempts this year, but struggled today.
Endicott has already missed from 32 and 52.
I mean, the 52-yarder, he hit it pretty good.
Yeah,
it just kind of slid right. You know, the shorter one was bad, but if I'm Paul Chryst, I'm looking at this as with a seasoned view. You know, this is a top 10 team, and we have designs on going to the Big Ten championship, and I'm going to need my kicker. What a great opportunity here, you know, to give him a little bit of confidence to seal a game.
This would be from 35, 36 yards away.
He came in, you know, to perfect on the season, and now McShay's, you know, selling him down the river. Won't even let him attempt to play the field goal.
What are the odds that the holder and long snapper have the same first name, both named Connor? No relation. We'll call it 36. Andrew Endicott, the senior, pressed into this role, as Todd mentioned, because of the injury to Gaglianone.
Take that, McShay.
And he's got that one as the officials nod at each other in agreement. That is up, and it is good. And all of a sudden, it's a 2-score game with Iowa trailing now by 11 and out of timeouts.
I mean, you don't have another kicker, right? Gaglianone is out, and you got to get some confidence in this kid going for the rest of the season. And it's a good call, decision by Chryst, and Endicott delivers.
Good 4-minute offense there by Wisconsin. They used 4:01 off the clock.
And it was that old Wisconsin formula, run that football, find your best offensive lineman, Ramczyk, and feature. You know, the other thing on that drive is they brought John Dietzen back into the game at left guard. Dietzen has been hurt. He's had a high ankle sprain most of the year and hasn't been reliable to play. But, you know, talking to Paul Chryst, he felt like their best run-blocking offensive line unit included Dietzen and Ramczyk on that left side and Dieter at center, and they finally got that combination.
Kicking off for Wisconsin, P.J. Rosowski. And back to receive for the Hawkeyes, Desmond King.
Desmond King, a look for a big return now for Iowa. Might be their last hope. Yeah, he'll run this one out for sure. Here's King, finds a seam outside, has some running room. Desmond King will cut it back inside. He's going to get caught from behind. Brought down at the 20-yard line. Said you needed a big play, and Desmond King provides it. 77-yard return.
Boy, Desmond King, why would you kick it to him? He comes into the game leading the Big Ten in return yardage. Both punt and kick returns. He's their most dynamic player on this Iowa team. They give him an opportunity, and he sets up C.J. Beathard inside the 25.
And you're going to need 2 scores here, Grease, now.
Yep.
With no timeouts. Here's Beathard. Pressure off the edge. And Beathard just shovels it forward as he was being taken down.
Going to consider that a pass. So if it's a pass, it's intentional grounding. He's inside the pocket there.
Intentional grounding. Offense, number 16. Ball be placed at the spot of the foul. Loss of down. Second down.
He got caught.
We have a foul that stops the clock.
Looks like his knee may have been down.
Right. Grease, let me hit you with this. When you need 2 scores anyway,
Yeah,
kick the field goal first. You get another big,
I don't think they're close enough right now even to attempt the field goal, Leaves.
Well, not now, but how about before the penalty marker?
Yep.
Maybe you would have thought about it then. Beathard completes to Wadley. Needs to get out of bounds. Cuts it inside. And does get the first down. So the clock will stop to move the chains, and then it will run again.
No, inside of 1 minute, it's going to stay stopped.
My bad.
But so Wadley, what great effort there by Wadley to get extra yardage, but to know to get out of bounds. This changes it. Now you got 4 shots at the end zone for the touchdown.
Right, now nobody's kicking the field goal.
Right.
57 seconds, just inside that minute mark on 1st and goal. Nearly intercepted. Ryan Connolly able to break it up, looking for Riley McCarron.
Got to get a little more pressure on C.J. Beathard. You can't let him sit back there and take 3 hitches. Ryan Conley's playing for the injured Jack Sitchie.
Good look from our pylon cam there. 2nd and goal upcoming.
You got Riley McCarron in the slot up here, and this is Vince Beagle. Obviously, they're doubling him, but a mismatch.
Beathard was looking that way. Scooped off the turf. Did he grab a touchdown? Noah Fant. Did he grab that off the turf?
We mentioned Fant had to be played big today for the injured George Kittle. He runs an out and up. Got it. He's got it. Oh, that was closer than you thought initially. He's got the
Call on the field is touchdown.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. Is under further review.
So does the ground help him catch that football is the question. You can control the football, and the football can touch the ground and move as long as you maintain control all the way through the catch. The question they'll be looking at in the replay booth is that ball move enough right there to be an incomplete pass.
I'm going to show it to you at real speed here. The Wisconsin players initially, they're all saying, of course, no touchdown, hit the ground. Of course they are.
Boy,
we've had a lot of these kind of really close calls today.
And the replay booth, they want to see that real speed sometimes so they can see how that ball is reacting, and it gives you a sense as to how hard it is to call a live football game from the field. I think the ground helped him catch that football right there, and it moved enough that they're going to call this an incomplete pass. Working overtime up there.
Ethan, you had a tough job, Grease. That's a hard job. No, I meant McShay.
You guys are relentless today, huh?
Big Ten football, McShay.
Yep, 4 quarters.
That's the tough. They're taking a lot of time.
Huge call, obviously. Captain Obvious.
Captain Obvious down there.
Here we go.
After review, it was determined that the ball touched the ground. The receiver did not maintain possession of the ball through the process of the catch. With an incomplete pass, it'll be third down at the 7-yard line. Ball be placed on the left hash.
Got a good look at the replay again with the initial call on the field touchdown. So they saw conclusive evidence to go the other way, take those points off the board.
That was a good call. It's a good call. His hands were kind of, they were weird on the ball, and that ground definitely helped the ball come back into his possession.
Beathard could have done his receiver a favor. Just passes too low. Had him open. 3rd and goal. 49 ticks left. Regulation time. Here's Beathard under pressure. They're thrown out of the back of the end zone. Alec James.
That's a great hit
knocked
by
Beathard
James.
down.
Yeah. Good
Beathard
clean
slowly
hit.
picking himself up now.
Good clean hit by James. He comes free. Little miscommunication. That's football right there.
So here you get the field goal attempt now.
Yeah, now you want a field goal and then onside kick and try to get back down in position, take a couple other shots at the end zone.
There's Keith Duncan. 3rd try. And that is good from 25. Back to a 1-score game, but there's 43 seconds left. Iowa has no timeouts, and they're kicking off. Wisconsin looking to go to 5-2. Again, how many teams can have consecutive losses and still be ranked 10th in the country?
Not many,
Right?
not many. But don't count these guys out. They are certainly in the conversation. If they're able to hold on here, the game next week will be huge. That game in Evanston is a sleeper, and the rivalry game against Minnesota, I don't think Illinois or Purdue are going to put up much fight against the Badgers. And if so, if they're able to go undefeated and Nebraska loses at Ohio State and Wisconsin goes to the Big Ten Championship, I guarantee you, whether it's Urban Meyer or whether it's Jim Harbaugh, neither one of those guys want to see this Wisconsin team again.
Right. Yeah, they're not a fun team to play against. Again, the winner of this game has represented the West in the Big Ten Championship game each of the last 2 years. Iowa last year, Wisconsin 2 years ago. Ron Caluzzi, the onside kick. That's the big hop. Jazz Peavy will just let it go out of bounds. That's a smart play.
Yep. That ball, Caluzzi, watching him in practice yesterday, and they practice obviously the onside kick on Fridays, and he hit a beautiful one in practice yesterday. That one kind of went too hard and too far downfield. If you kick that ball too far down the field, you don't give your offensive guys a chance to go down and catch it before it goes out of bounds.
The flag was for out of bounds on the kickoff.
And it's 46-yard line.
But Wisconsin be able to snap the ball a couple times and get out of here. Best formation in football.
I think that Kurt Ferentz can take some positives from this game. You know, the games he lost at against North Dakota State and Northwestern, they were run over on the defensive side by those teams rushing the football. He was able to hold up. They gave up one big run to Clement today, but 170 yards on the ground for Wisconsin. I thought this Iowa defense in particular played well.
They're going to fall to 5-3, Iowa. All 3 losses coming here at Kinnick Stadium, which you would not expect.
These guys get to run over and get that bull.
Yeah.
Bruiser the bull.
Trophy time. The Heartland Trophy. Iowa had won 6 straight trophy rivalry games. That streak comes to an end here today as 10th-ranked Wisconsin defeats Iowa 17-9. Down to the field. Here's Todd.
Hey, Coach. Coming off 2 back-to-back losses, 2 top 3 teams in the country and 1-score battles. What did you learn about your team today?
Well, I think it reinforces a lot of I think they did a good job all week, just turning the page, and they've done that all year, regardless whether it's good or bad, and we knew coming in here was going to be hoping to make it quite a battle, and it was, and it takes everyone in games play out differently. You just got to keep playing through it, and I thought they did that, and proud of the work and the effort and the togetherness they're doing it with.
You're able to get the senior Bart Houston in the game. How does that help your team moving forward, just the confidence that he gets from this?
You know, I think we're one of those teams right now, we need everyone. You know, and I think that showed there with some guys stepping in when some of the DBs got hurt. And so we need everyone to be the best we can be, and I think that's one example of it.
What's it mean to win the Heartland Trophy?
It means that you beat Iowa. That's a good thing.
It's a good answer, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Safe travels.
Okay.
All right, Todd, just perfect. That is the correct answer. So Iowa, they go into their bye week. They're next at Penn State on November the 5th. Wisconsin will host Nebraska in a massive game next Saturday. Our final score, 17-9. 10th-ranked Wisconsin on top. Up next, stay tuned for College Football Scoreboard, presented by Honda. For Brian Greasy, Todd McShay, and our entire crew, I'm Steve Levy. The pink visiting locker room not a factor today. Wisconsin a winner on the road.